Come on, we got three uglies.
It's only showing up on the stream, which is really weird. But I'm gonna make it look like it's working. So how about this? If we all take a peek at YouTube.
Hey.
Hey.
I like it. It.
Looks like it works. All right, guys. I mean, since it's been a while, since it seems like forever since we last did this. I want to say whoever's here at the moment, whoever's gonna come in, welcome to just a random discussion. A bunch of us hanging out, talking about different things. Gonna take some questions and everything. We got Brandon over here. He's gonna raise it. I thought you were gonna raise your beer, man. I was like, cheers. There we go. Then we have
beer because it's delicious.
Over here in the other red LEDs, we have Luke. A lot of y'all probably remember him from chiming in on the Discord chat. Not the Discord chat. Damn, if I could talk today. YouTube chat last time, keeping me alive and stopping me from talking to myself for a good hour and a half before Brandon could get on. So Luke's helping us out, getting a Discord set up. Also included the Discord link inside the description of this live stream. So whoever sees this video either at the moment or whoever sees it later, feel free to join. It's ran by Luke over here, the mastermind behind all the technical stuff. He's the saving grace at the moment because I'm completely ignorant when it comes to some of this stuff. So Luke's also.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. I mean, I might have to take a few courses or something. I don't know.
Hey, if you do, let me know. I can join too.
Yeah.
Learning about Discord and social networking.
I'm horrible about it. I really am. I'm shocked that any of this stuff has actually grown as much as it has due to my lack of knowledge in how to market anything. All right, man. So I guess let's start off with some of the questions that we kind of touched on in the last live Q&A. And then, because I'm going to obviously edit and rip all the audio from this and then throw it on, Anchor. I guess they do sponsor us on the podcast a little bit. So we have the little commercial at the beginning, So what?
Nothing. Continue.
You want me to edit that out or keep that in there when all this is done?
Make it raw.
So the question, I guess, was getting over the fear of hell when leaving Christianity and coming into Norse paganism. I mean, I think that's something that, like, as kids, we're all, like, pressured into being like, oh, if you don't do this, you're going to hell. You don't do this, you're going to hell. And to me, I'm like, personally for me, growing up, it, like, set, like, this fear of, one, you're imperfect. So it's like heaven was unattainable or whatever was unattainable, and that you were always going to hell. And that if you were upset, demons were after you type of thing. Shockingly, my mom wasn't religious, obviously, but she still, like, always had me believing, like, oh, I'm going to go to hell for feeling a certain way or doing a certain thing. But I've talked about this before, but I would like to get both of y'all's insight on it. If you want to, whoever wants to go first, I guess y'all can fight over the mic at this point. And
I'm not a big guy.
Well, I think growing up, more of my fear was death in general, not where I was going.
Yeah.
I think it was the fear of the not being here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hell never really was a huge fear for me. Neither was, like, the interest in going to heaven. Just seemed boring, and hell just didn't. I don't like the heat to begin with, so not you got to come to the conclusion that until you get used to the path you're on, until you understand what the afterlife is for us, that is the underlying issue is going to be there, especially if you're fresh. So take it with a grain of salt. Understand that, hey, in the back of my mind, because of umpteen years of force feeding, dogma, stuff like that, it's gonna be there. And then one day, you're gonna be like, fuck it. What's there to be afraid of?
That's a good point.
You know? It's because at some point, like, fuck them motherfuckers. And I probably should talk like that. That's good. But it's pretty much what I did. It's like all that issue, all those things that you're supposed to be afraid of. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know? Even the thought of death now, it doesn't bother me. It hasn't for years. I've been doing this for 15 plus years now. And it took me probably 5 to get used to the idea of a different form of afterlife than what I was taught for so long. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, don't get me wrong. There's some shit you don't want to deal with. But you know the parameters. There's certain things like, hey, you live this life, A, B, and C. I mean, how easy is that? Like, just be an honorable person, treat others with respect, be kind, be courageous, take care of yourself and your family. How hard is that?
And basic moral shit that we should all be doing, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, it's called just being a good person in general. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes into like there's different places. There's not just Allah and hell, whatever hell you. There's so much other different places and forms of afterlife. I think what is it? Thor's Hall.
Like Skinner.
You're a strong working man. I think that you have a chance of going there. She like. And I don't necessarily. I've read that a couple times, and it's been kind of like, really, I don't know how I can take it, but regardless of what you read, how you feel, just know that there's always going to be that thought when you're fresh that your Christian upbringing is going to have an underlying effect on you for a certain period of time. It's just what it is. You shouldn't feel guilty because there's no point.
Yeah.
Just go with it. It's not affecting you physically. Work yourself out, because most of the time when those thoughts come along, you're literally at a point where you can pause life and think on things. Because nobody sits there while they're busy working or working out or doing whatever fucking. I wonder if I'm going to go to hell. Nobody does.
Typically,
so your answer is staying busy.
It's when you have in activities in your day where you're able to get in your head.
Yeah.
And like you've done some stuff throughout the day, and like, how is that going to look? Is there still a possibility I could go to this place? And if that's something you never get over, then I'm not going to say, is this the right path for you? But I think that is more of, you need to look more at yourself than what you believe in.
Exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, typically if you have a thought like that, your moral compass in some shape or form, or you're unsure about yourself, and that means that you need to change. It's not the religion. It's not the fear of hell. I'm like, the reason why hell's so scary is because 90% of us have something about we need to fix in ourselves. So that's the reason why the church was able to, put that fear in people and see them change. Oh well, we as natural beings are flawed. It's just part of being human, and we're never going to be that perfection that they build up and and try to say, well, yeah, for God's sakes, I mean, you ain't even supposed to, if you wanted to get really biblical, like hardcore biblical, the clothes that we wear today, we'd all be going to hell, because we're not supposed to wear multiple types of fabric and shit woven together according to the Old Testament. Like, we would all go to hell instantly.
Some shit. I don't want to wear. If I'm gonna wear something like that, it might as well just be a kilt.
Yeah, I know, right? So, Luke, what about you, man?
I I took a different approach to it. I mean, that's probably a way better approach to do it. Just stay busy, focus on what you need to do rather than where you're going. But I had to dive in deep to it. Like I had to actually research more into Christianity actually uh, than paganism. Uh, you look into the origins of the Christian hell. You look at what the Jews believe hell is, and you find that hell is simply just a separation from God or separation from the gods in in this context.
Yeah.
So, looking at it from a more, I guess, universalist perspective, is like hell is separation from the universe. It's isolation. It's loneliness. Uh, so by again, like you were saying, by doing, what is right, living how you're supposed to live, you can fight that fear because no matter what, you've lived a good life. I I I
And
think
at
I'm
this
making
point,
sense
do you
there.
even really need the 9 noble virtues? Like,
Yeah,
do you
I
really
mean,
need them? Like, most of
you
that is very common sense. It's the way you should be doing things anyway.
yeah, exactly. That's the way you're supposed to be doing things anyway. And I think everybody instinctually knows what a good way to live is. So whether or not we need the nine noble virtues, I think is a matter of perspective on,
I think
how
it's
much
relative.
structure you need in your life. Exactly, it's relative to each person.
I mean, it's a basic starting point. I mean, a lot of people view as like when they get into paganism that they're walking away from a former version of who they were prior to finding the gods, and they want to try to rebuild themselves as a different person. I mean, and we see that a lot throughout history. Like, I mean, hell, even the Bible has what's his name, Saul turned into Paul or some shit like that, like in the Bible. And you know, my point, I guess, that I see it from an angle. I mean, yeah, there's the importance because obviously you have your heritage, your family lineage, and that's an important thing in a lot of aspects to keep going. Obviously, you don't want to abandon that because I mean, the Havamal talks about leaving behind a good name and basically leaving a good legacy as an individual, and to have your name remembered and your morals and everything remembered once you're gone. So I mean, I can see the importance of not changing it, but to me, I'm like, to each their own. Like if you want to do it, just to do it, be my guest. But there's a point where I feel like those who are not taking the belief seriously will weed themselves out. Uh,
Yeah. And
you know,
if I meet people who have done that, I'm not going to openly just ridicule you because I'm not ridiculing you at all. I just don't agree with it. And this, you do you, boo boo. Is what
Yeah,
it is.
and that's the thing is we as people, like, I mean, hell, even the Havamal tells you, you need to be able to disagree with people openly at the end of the day and walk
Oh,
away from it.
oh shit! There's a baby.
hey, that's
Mr.
much
G.
better.
You going that night? Hey.
So is the baby gonna be the other co-host we had?
He's the
Shit.
mascot.
He's gonna be my listening partner.
That's what's up.
Yes,
He's gonna be 3, stronger than all of us.
You're gonna teach him
he's
the
probably
Arnold
already
deal.
smarter than me.
Yeah,
So
teach him
what?
to screen like Arnold, man.
Oh.
That's good shit.
He'll be standing there.
I mean, here's a thought. Like, so someone a long time ago asked me this, and I've never really talked about it. Do what is the concept of hell a creation off of Snorri's influenced by the Catholic Church, or is it an actual place? Like some people have asked me in the past, like, was hell ever truly mentioned, like as a literal place to go? Because some people still view it. Unfortunately, they carry this Christian mindset into it, where hell is like a place of torment. Like you're a shitty person if you go to hell, but that's because of the Christian influence in it. So it kind of makes you wonder like how much of the story and what we know of hell is influenced by Christianity.
We have Nephel, if I pronounce that fucking right. Which is the land of mist, basically. That's the closest thing.
That's Niflheim, right?
Yeah, Niflheim. Yeah.
And I mean, and that's just kind of like, I think the reason is because one, the name hell, obviously you find it in the Bible, but you also find it in whatever. But at the same time, it's like some people view it as, well, if you're not going to these perspective halls that you want to go to, like some people view it as like, this is like a literal Christian hell type of aspect. And I'm like,
that's the over Christian version, I think.
Yeah.
Because like that's not what it is at all, from what I understand.
Yeah, from what I understand is like it's a place where, regardless when we die, it's kind of like you have to go through hell to get to the rest of the places. It's like one of your stops, kind of like a boop, boop, like type of thing. But that was the way it was explained to me in some of the books I read. So I don't know. You're the one that Brandon, that kind of like used to tell me all these stories all the time. So if I'm wrong, it's your fault.
Hold up. You got me in that.
How many years of research have you had the opportunity to use?
Man, I haven't had. If you really want to get technical, 2 years. I want to say I'm 100% confident Brandon watches it, but do you watch Ancient Aliens at all, Luke?
Very rarely. It's been years since I watched any of it.
So I get a question about a year and a half ago. Like, basically, somebody saw the episode in like Ancient Aliens, like where they're saying that Sleipnir, like the description of Sleipnir, was a spaceship, and that all this other stuff, right? So it's pretty funny if you want to look at it like that, because I'm like, where the hell did these people come up with that? Like, we're talking about a horse with 8 legs, obviously, but
drugs.
Yeah, drugs. Yeah, and it's like you need to like the stand up hair when you say aliens for this, but like, yeah, aliens. Yeah, I mean, I've explained like my thoughts, kind of. Do I believe, I guess, that the gods are extraterrestrial? Fuck, I don't know. Our understanding in this life is limited, small, minute. I'm not gonna like sit here and say, yeah, they could be. No, no, they're not. So, but my thing is like when I look at like the 9 realms, I don't view that as like a spiritual aspect. I view it as like perhaps a cosmological standpoint for it. Like maybe that. The way that the 9 planets are set up. I mean, you got to look at it like, all the planetary alignments and everything back then are a little bit different than they are now.
So hear me out. We can imagine the universe in 10 dimensions. So I've seen enough Stargate SG-1 to think the aliens the aliens could have been involved somehow. But hear me out. So what if they're 9th dimensional beings having an influence on us? They would still be considered gods for, any respective reason. Like, they would be ultimately powerful compared to us. We would definitely see them as gods.
I still give them a headbutt.
I mean, yeah. You headbutt everything, bro.
I got my son.
Yep. I thought this wasn't that kind of channel.
It's not. Nobody knows.
It's true now.
I think they just have to read between the lines. I mean,
yeah. Take it as you will, Luke. Jesus. Oops, wrong one.
Oh, man.
All right, it's not blasphemy here.
I mean, no. I mean, if you look at it in like shit, like the thing I heard recently is like, for example, this water bottle exists in 10 different dimensions. And it's like even down to the paranormal could be multi-dimensional beings. And it kind of like, it screws with my mind a little bit, because I'm just like, listen, I'm not getting that deep mentally with it at the moment.
Man, I can go down that rabbit hole so long.
But I'm like, good.
Here's an experience I had with your grandfather. because I mean, you know, the family history with Project Blue Book and all that shit, and aliens and stuff. But we could live in a place where nothing happened. It is brand new, and this dude would be like, "Saw a ghost last night." Fucking what? You know, and then all of a sudden, you know, shit would just start happening. But one of the things he always said, is he could describe a person to a T, but he never saw their feet. They were gone. Like they had stopped at the top of the ankle, and that was it. And knowing the people that I know, I asked some questions. You know, people who had a better understanding of the other worlds than I do. And they say when stuff like that happens, you're experiencing someone from that is walking on another world. Does that make sense?
That's really interesting.
That is an interesting standpoint, actually. Yeah.
And all the stuff that I've experienced in my life, and I'm trying to remember, I've never seen, like I've seen some shit, you know, experienced a lot of different paranormal things, cryptid things. I don't recall whenever I've seen an apparition, you know, seeing feet. But of course, that's not exactly the first thing I look for.
No, typically I'm not looking. Typically my ass is through the door, like just running.
Like it's a different like. Could that be literally someone from another plane of existence? Kind of their version of astral projection.
I mean, that is a good point. Because I mean, I've never astral projected, like ever. I've tried a million times and it just doesn't work.
I mean, apparently I've done it, just don't remember anything. I have to hear from people I did it with about what happened and all that jazz. So it's kind of an idea, like, to ignore the fact that, you know, the 9 realms are there, but I think in the long run it goes far beyond that. So it's interesting that why would this person come to a particular individual unless they were just getting to this other place and just hanging out, seeing what's going on, and it just happened to pop into somebody's random fucking bedroom. No. But the concept is very interesting, and I have not found a whole lot as far as internet goes to really talk on it. You know, the people who talk about it don't fucking do anything on the internet with it. It's amongst themselves.
I mean, because it's kind of taboo in a way. Like, people are afraid that they're going to be looked at like, oh, you're fucking weird. Like,
the guy that was telling me he was like, when he first got into figuring out that he was a medium, all this stuff, you know, he thought he could trust people, and he would talk about it, and they literally tried to have him committed. But he was also at the time, he was very crispy. And for reference to those in the audience, if there's even anyone listening to this crap right now, crispy is what we call people who are very fundamental Christian. We just call them Jesus Crispies. Short and sweet.
One of my favorite terms.
It's the first time I've heard you say this before, and to be honest with you, I just kind of like, I felt that that's what you meant, but I just like never questioned it, because it was like kind of one of those like silent like confirmations, you know, like that's what it means, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this what it is. Like my old lady, before she met me, she was very crispy.
So crispy. So crispy.
So,
I mean, I've got to admit, I've never seen a ghost. I mean, I have seen one weird thing. Like, one night I was in my bedroom, and I was sitting there watching TV, for an example, and I look over to the right side of my bed, and there's this like huge ass smoky black orb, but it looked like it had silver like moving around on the inside of it, just kind of doing some weird shit, and it went away. And that's got to be the only paranormal, like ghost related maybe thing I have ever seen in my life. Now I see UFOs all the time. Like, I guess it's because I'm like right here next to the military base. Like, there's like 40, 50 a night.
You're in a hot spot.
I mean,
according to the maps, I guess you could say.
the videos, man, I've got like of them just like they damn near try to land in my backyard a lot of times. It's just weird as hell. And I mean, and I'm all for it, man. I'm like, you know, shit, go ahead. Like, what have I got to lose, you know? I'm like, I'm curious to know what you know. Like, as long as you don't dissect me, man, I'm cool. Like,
aliens take me.
I can't deal with this place anymore.
I just want to go to space, man.
I know, right? Like, how do we know that we can't physically breathe in space? Like, who did they send up there to find that out? Like we're just gonna launch your ass up there and just don't let you breathe.
I think it was a dog.
That's fucked up, dude.
It was either a dog or a chimp, and I can't remember if it was us or the Russians. But yeah, no, it wasn't a person first.
But I think it's funny, man, because I'm like, look, we don't know what they know. We don't know what kind of concepts of divinity or life that these people have experienced. But here's another one, man. It's like some people fucking believe that aliens are just us from the future. So it's just kind of makes you wonder, like, or like Elon Musk.
Hey,
I mean, Elon might be the only one that gets us there. So,
dude's a genius, man.
That thought is encouraging. You know, it means that we do survive to see the future. I mean, humanity as a whole. This doesn't destroy us, as even if it looks like it's going to.
I mean, if you want to delve into stuff like that, I watched this video today. Like, it talks about like fast forwarding based on scientific perspectives of like what the Earth is going to be like 1,000 years from now. Supposedly, the sun expands, and then we get sucked into the gravitational pull, supposedly, and all this other bullshit, and then eventually, like some millions, like some kind of trillions of years away, all of space will be just a graveyard of white dwarf stars. And it's just kind of like screws with your mind because you're like, then what happens next? like, you know, what the fuck? But, you know, but that's the thing.
Yeah. Isaac Asimov has a great short story about that. It's called The Last Question. And basically the whole idea behind the story is entropy must increase to maximum. Now, entropy means the cold heat death of the universe. So, and huge spoiler alerts for anybody, including you guys. At the end of the story, this giant computer that's been, you know, they've asked this question, you know, how can we reverse entropy? The computer at the very end goes, let there be light. So basically, it's taken all of the mass from the universe, condensed it, and re-expanded it. And that's how it's reversed entropy. It just starts everything over again.
It just does the Big Bang all over again. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Really good short story. I really recommend listening to the whole thing because my synopsis is bullshit.
Because you know, it was basically like, you know, everybody wonders like, will the Earth end in fire and ice? Like, will the whole universe end, you know, through fire or ice? And the scientists were like, well, it's everything's going to be frozen cold. It's going to be all ice again. The atoms are going to react to it, and then everything's just going to kick back up, and then all of a sudden we have black holes that are spawning like crazy, and then all of a sudden, you know, what do we have after that? But it's like also I watched some of the science stuff where, you know, what it looks like if the Earth gets sucked into a black hole, and it's like, and then all of a sudden we pop out on the other side. What the fuck's on the other side? Don't stop there. Tell me what we can expect. Like, I'm like, I mean, that's
wormhole travel and all that shit.
I'm like, that's what we need.
Wormhole travel, not black hole travel. Black hole travel would mean everyone's dead.
The badass dudes on the Jen Hadar or some shit like that.
Jen Hadar.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that's Lucas. Your namesake. I need you to help me out here.
Jen Hadar. What do you?
Was it Deep Space Nine? It was like the Jen Hadar or some shit like that.
Oh, I didn't watch Deep Space Nine. That show was trash.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Both y'all suck. It was the only other one that had warp, so it's the only one I want.
I mean, that's a fair reason to watch it. I couldn't get into that one.
I couldn't get into Voyager either, man.
Oh yeah. No, I love Voyager.
You would.
They get stuck on the complete opposite side of the galaxy. How could I not love that? the only place the rest of the Federation hasn't been to.
I'm like, to me personally, man, like when I think about shit like this, I'm just like, we need to be investing our money as far as like NASA and shit goes, just shooting shit off into a black hole and see what happens. Like, you know.
Oh, we'll get there.
With a note just to stop it.
Stop it.
Stop. I mean, the thing is so it's like the theory of like if the Earth gets sucked into a black hole, it would rip us. So the way it was explained in this thing I watched is like all of the gravity would leave, but we wouldn't actually physically leave the planet because the amount of pressure caused by the black hole, and it would shred us into atoms while we were alive. Like it would just rip us apart. But what's really trippy though about it, because it kind of like going through a black hole. They talk about how it kind of like it's all rainbowish. It kind of looks like rainbows, like because of all the color and everything sucking through the black hole when you're going through it. And it kind of gives you like the idea, like shit, like if you want to go to the the Norse gods from like the science aspect, like what the fuck if a black hole or a wormhole was just a rainbow bridge? Maybe that's why no human feet could touch it without burning.
I mean, that's kind of what I first thought when you said it, the Bifrost. It's interesting.
I mean, because there's a lot of scientific shit that you could tie into Norse paganism. Because I believe, man, maybe our ancestors, they had to know some shit. Because, I mean, their concept of the world outside of, Midgard was pretty advanced for their time. Galileo wasn't around. None of that shit was around. So...
Well, I mean, a lot of things were based on the moon and stars and stuff like that. Like for a lot of cultures of the time frame, a lot of races for the time, the Celts, Norse, all that stuff. Like they paid more attention to the stars and the moon and the sun than they did anything here.
Yeah, I mean, because they had to track the solstice, and the equinoxes and everything. So, I mean, they had to know when it was good to farm, when it was good not to. So. I mean, it makes total sense.
I feel like we went down a Monty Python's trail of now for something completely different.
Yeah, that's probably my bad.
No, I mean, it's that's the cool thing about it, and it's like I was saying earlier, Mimirs, well, obviously, Mimir was kind of like another god of wisdom, so to speak. Obviously, so much so that Odin went to him just to drink of the water of his well and everything, and then pluck his eye out, and we all know the story. So I believe like stemming into some of this stuff, I mean, because it's all wisdom, it's all truth. It's like if I was sitting here and Odin was beside me, I'm sure he would carry on with this conversation, because I mean this is some deep shit. I mean it's all about building, like makes you sometimes it's good to question things, like be like, hey, if Slipnir can have 8 legs, what the hell says that the Bifrost is not a wormhole? Like, like if Loki can shapeshift, why can't this be this way?
Well, he's not the only one, right? I mean, Heimdall could do it as well. Then don't they fight as like an otter and a trout or some shit like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Yeah. I mean, it was
Odin,
2 seals. I thought. Yeah. Odin turns into
just all the time too.
Turns into a bird. We all know the story about the meat of poetry, like, it's pretty graphic. Like, it's not definitely a story that you tell your kids, because it's like, he craps all the meat out, like, as a bird. It just kind of, and it's kind of like you don't want your kids to think they can just run out there anytime a bird takes a crap and be like, hey, I can, I've been smart now, like, what the fuck? Because, somebody heard that story and was like, I wonder how I can, no.
We got the bad taste in the fucking mouth.
I mean, it's some deep shit to think about. I mean, it really is. Because, I mean, a lot of people, they stick on the flat Earth theory so hard. Like, oh, the Earth isn't round and all this bullshit. And I'm like, obviously I can see why the ancestors thought that, because they didn't have the scientific advancement to know, like, the Earth is round. type of thing back then. They didn't know because they were limited to their area. So, but imagine being them saying, "Oh, if I sail straight across this damn ocean, I'm gonna fall off the other side." Like, you know, that would scare anybody to death and be like, "I ain't going over there like that." Like,
Mm.
but
Like the first movie I've ever seen that kind of fed into all that stuff was Eric the Viking.
I haven't seen that.
It's an older flick. It's a comedy. It's almost like on the same level as Monty Python, but not Monty Python. It's not as dry. It's not a dry British humor. But it's one of those. It's not a parody movie, but it's like making everything comical, like the gods are children. They worry about going off the edge of the world, and the sun's gone. Holy shit, we're all gonna die. I can't remember the dude's name that plays it. He's the main. He plays Eric. But if you ever get a chance, you can find it. Watch it at least once because it's pretty funny. It's that '90s fucking Princess Bride, Men in Tights kind of shit.
Men in Tights.
It's not going to light Norse mythology, but it's going to give you a good laugh.
That's here's another mind twister. So, I've been reading because I study old religions a lot because it's just what I like to do. I read about Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever. So here's a thought. Yeah. So it's so the Hindus believe that sometimes their gods or whatever, they can come down and take be reborn as an individual or take on a physical, stupid spam call, take on the physical form of, another human body or whatever. So, kind of, go on.
The Greeks and Romans is the same thing. It's a common concept between everything.
And now we see kind of like so the reason I'm saying this is because I rewatched season 2 of Ragnarok, right? So it's it kind of makes you wonder, can shit like that actually happen? An old man that you meet in a supermarket, can that dude really be Odin just as somebody else, or Thor as somebody else, just like his soul or his being, or that person under the complete influence and as a living vessel, I guess, for a specific deity?
Could be. Or you could see them as they are and not realize that's what they are. They just look like your common person because they dress like that. It could go either way, I think.
Because I liked the idea that they had in the show. Granted, the show doesn't really follow any real canon on the stories of the gods or whatever, but the idea of hey, in order to have the modern gods, whatever, the old gods can inhabit the physical form of a modern individual to do that. And to me, I was just like, that's some deep shit to think about. Is that possible? Because it's spoken of. Minus Christianity, because Christianity just kind of keeps it basic. But it's spoken of in Hinduism, Buddhism, Greek, Egyptian. It goes on and on and on. And then we all know that the gods shift forms, they do whatever, and it just kind of makes you wonder, can they Loki can mess with people's minds in the Marvel TV show, and I wouldn't put it past him to actually be able to do that as a god himself. So it just kind of makes you wonder, can they control us? And if so, to what? Maybe to what extent?
Yeah, I think Loki's more of a verbal manipulator than anything. Than he can magically manipulate you. I think just the way the fucker will conversate with you will kind of do as he wants to, unless you're smart enough to catch it.
He's a damn good car salesman. That's the kind of way I view him. He'll sell you anything, and once you're done, you're pissed. You're driving away, in a 100-year-old car, and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" Why did I buy this thing? But he was charming and cunning the entire time he was talking.
Yeah, I don't know about complete control. I think that I see them more as influencers than controllers. Because I mean, we don't pray to the gods to ask them to do things for us.
No.
We're supposed to do those things ourselves.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the whole point. That's one of the biggest things that draws me to heathenry. But I think complete control is an idea that's a little bit more Christian with like demonic possession. But I don't know. Or what?
Slavery. Because aren't like Christians supposed to be slaves to their God or something like that? I was never a good one. So, very new to me.
Neither was I. I was always told I was possessed by some kind of demon.
Yeah, especially when you used to dress.
I mean, hey, but if you put me beside old me, no one would ever recognize it, though, man.
Oh, same though? Oh. Yeah, I don't even think you guys would recognize me if you saw me from high school. I still have pictures of me with long hair.
You need to send those to me. I've seen them. What? How has she seen them and not me, Luke?
I'm sure you've seen them at some point. In fact, I know for a fact you have. It was in one of our Snap groups.
Well, then I didn't recognize the girl I was looking at.
Look.
Hey, I can't say anything. I can't join in on this because I'm just as guilty of having long hair as anybody.
Oh man, that shit was down to here. It was great. It was great. I'm glad I had it long while I did because man, it is never coming back.
Right? Maybe was more of that black emo.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to do that, so I worked within my means.
That's fair.
I mean, I cut mine off because my shit, when it grew down really long, it got, super thick, like I was Jewish or some shit. And I was like, what the hell?
So jealous.
Yeah, I say that I have all this shit going on.
See? I mean, I can't even do that with mine, man. I keep, the professional comb to side, just like...
See, that's what I used to do, but I figured I'd go to Bob Stoops route and do something crazy. Like grow my hair out.
That's true, man. That's pretty good stuff.
I tried to talk Jamie into let me give her head tattoos, and she said no.
What?
I mean,
I wanted to stick figure my own grass.
Yes. Yes. I mean, you would have to keep that the tightest cut ever.
I mean, yeah, it would have to be fresh all the time, man, just to pull that one off.
I mean,
it would be so worth it, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Stick figure mowing grass. I'm like, man, what the hell? That's a genius idea, though.
It's either that or like a stick figure with a sombrero running from a group of stick figure Romans saying, wrong Jesus.
Oh, yeah. I dig it. Speaking of tattoos, I need you to send me a picture of that long strip that you wanted.
Okay.
I need to start doing that stuff again. I need to finish my anarchy symbol.
Working on that hand poke.
I've been lazy.
And we all, bro.
You did prison ink, hand poke tattoos?
I mean, it is stick and poke, but I have a legit kit for it, like a real needle. I've got a shading needle. Yeah.
I mean, there's the hand poke stuff is coming back, dude. Big time.
I mean, I saw I watched Ozzy and Jack's World Tour or whatever World Adventure thing they do, and I watched his son get the hand poke tattoo from a Japanese artist or whatever. And I watched him get it done on the TV, and I was like, that looks pretty cool because he's just sitting there just fucking stabbing away, and I'm like, damn, man.
I think there's a couple shops in Canada that do it. There's no one close to us at all that does hand poke anything. There's a couple shops in the UK, and they do great work. It's crazy how they do it. Takes forever though.
It does. It takes forever. And personally, I think it hurts a lot more than a tattoo gun.
Well, imagine.
I mean, it's taking its dear sweet time, just like stab, stab, stab.
Yep. Gee, wonder why I've been holding off on doing that.
Listen, Sunday Fun Day. Tattoos for everyone.
Hell, I remember when he got the one on his fingers, man. I was up there when you got those.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I don't see how the hell you did that. That shit looks like it hurt.
And the dude with the tattoo gun was only a 3 needle instead of a 7. That was fucking stupid.
Ow.
Yeah, it was like that was hopefully the last time I ever encountered that. I don't know. They didn't hold up very well. Like they're still like I could get them worked on. They could be darker, but they are like 15 years old, almost 15 years old.
Dude, you're making me feel old, man. Damn.
How the fuck do you think I feel?
Yeah.
I mean, because
at least y'all haven't talked about hip replacements with your doctor yet. So
but oi! I've been getting this pain in my shoulder. It hurts.
Can I get an elbow replacement? Is that a thing yet?
I don't know. I bet it is.
I still can't straighten my shit out.
I need a brain replacement. Can I just take my brain out and just put it in a totally new body and just drop it in there and
talk to the aliens you got hanging around?
I know, right? I know. Man, I'm telling you though, dude, you've seen the footage. I mean, you've seen some of it. Like, I've got the videos on my laptop, actually. I wonder if I could send them through Discord, because they're probably, better quality. Talk about some weird stuff, man. I finally saw Dune, man.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It was super good, man. It was really good. I was so pissed towards the end. It was and it just ended the way it did. And I was like, no! And I was like, well, and I looked, and it's chapter 2 is coming out in 2023. And I was like, damn it, man.
I'm so stoked. I was really happy with the ending. I really thought that they were going to try and get everything all in there in that 2.5 hours. And I was like, man, there's no way they're going to get the whole book in there. But
are you talking about Doom?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I finally watched it. It was really good.
Fun fact, though.
The one with Sting.
Oh, I love that movie for what it is.
I can't do it. I get it, but I watched it once. I think I'm good on that. But the one that just came out, really fucking good.
Oh, it's so good. But so you know how I was named after Jean-Luc Picard, right? What? Yeah. Okay. I was named after Jean-Luc Picard, but apparently, my dad wanted to name me after Paul Atreides. He wanted to call me Usul. Yeah.
I'm like, you would have really played into I'm German aspect of that. What's your name? Ursel. Gotta get me some strudels for Ursel.
Oh man.
It sounds like it's like one of the pigs from Shrek, you know, we ate on the cake.
I still would have loved it though.
It would have been funny.
You know what? I think our conversations would be a little bit different, but yeah, I got you.
I think our conversations would be very different. Oh.
Shit, I'm dying here, man. All right. I've got so many German jokes I could make for a name like that.
Remember, sponsorship.
No, I mean this is yeah. This is where the good content comes from, man. It's just this is all gonna be snipped up anyway, so.
People will come into this thinking they're gonna get the ominous background, dark, burning fucking incense or some shit, talking about Viking stuff, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?
What?
What is this?" This is a train wreck.
I mean, yeah, a little bit, but
I mean, it works.
when you go
though, man.
unscripted,
Well, you got so many people out there that are doing this stuff. Like, hey, let me make this impractical as fuck. Make it look like this is how I live in a dark corner of my house with horns everywhere and Viking shit everywhere. Dark chanting music from Heathen. Fucking hate those guys. And just burning incense randomly throughout the day. Stop it.
look, it smells good, man.
It does, but the way they're giving that image, stop.
I don't know, man. When you burn enough sage to the point where you start seeing crap, like you just need to give it up. Like,
You're not supposed to smoke it like
wait. That's an option?
what?
Burning so much sage that you start seeing shit?
Yeah, I mean,
That's the thing?
I saged myself, right? So like I smudged sage. I'm not a witch. I just was like, I got a whole bunch of negative baggage. I got to get the fuck off my shoulders. So I like went outside and like
just rolled up a sage joint.
No, I didn't smoke it, obviously. But no, man, it's
I got a bundle right here.
You got what?
I got a bundle right here.
Sage.
Oh yeah, dude, I smudged and shit like that. I smudged the entire house when we moved in.
Yeah, I still need to do that to this place.
So what?
So I still need to do that to this place. We for real have ghosts here, like
dude,
through the
listen,
night, all night.
You want to see some weird shit, yeah? So go outside, sage yourself, stand outside, do it like at the time of nighttime, and stand out there. You will see some weird shit. Like the day I did it, and I noticed that every time I do it, like the UFO activity in my area increases. Like, and so if you've ever seen CE5, like with Stephen Greer or whatever, like supposedly like if you meditate enough or whatever, you can communicate with aliens, blah, blah, blah. So I don't really like, I tested it out like once or twice, but my thing is like, you go out there and you sage it. I don't know. I mean, they could pick up on some energetic shit that maybe shifts or whatever, because it's been proven that scientifically, like when you burn incense, it changes the reactions of the molecules and everything in the air, and it kind of like electrifies them somewhat. But I just know for a fact, like when I sage myself, I feel good as hell. But that one day, I like stuck the sage in like a glass jar and like sat it down on the ground, and I sat like above it and just kind of like outside and just let it go. And it's like, before I know it, I'm sitting out there for like 3 hours, burned a whole thing of sage, and I came inside, and I swear to God, like the walls were moving like water. Like, it's like California white sage too, man. It was weird.
Oh, that's why I came from California. Yeah.
I know, like you feel good. Like I felt great because, of course, I was walking around with it for a long period of time, doing my thing. But I put stock in that. Like I really do. I'm not a magic person. I leave that to the more capable people. But energy and stuff like that, I get down with.
Yeah, I totally feel that. I mean, that's the first time I ever used sage. Like, I was expecting, like, when I started burning it, would throw my ass out of my own backyard. Like,
I mean, we used to go to Native American powwows, and that's how I fell in love with just the smell of it. And so I bought some, and Mom would smoke and all that shit pissed me off. So I'd burn sage because you hated it for that. I love it. I would burn that shit all the time if it made sense to.
Speaking of which, I mean, your great niece is in Wilmington, yeah?
2 hours away, doesn't change. She contacted me.
I know that I think she's Wiccan or pagan or something.
Really?
Yeah.
How old is she?
Tabitha's okay with you?
Pretty much. She carries around crystals and stuff all the time, and talks to me about stuff a lot. Like back in like when I have opportunity to talk, but because typically I'm busy with work. But other than that,
interesting. Shocking, honestly.
It's just kind of a family thing, man. It seems it's like after my mom, it's like all of the generation coming forward. It's just like they're all pagan. They're walking away from Christianity and going their own way.
People just go back to it. I mean, your grandfather didn't go back to it, but he read a lot of my books just out of curiosity. And he goes, I get it. So he said. That was before his mind started going with the dementia and shit.
I mean, shit, best I can get is my dad's playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I haven't played that yet.
That's pretty good.
Same.
I want to play it.
The weapons thing you were talking about, Brandon. I'm not sure where you heard that from, but you can get all kinds of different weapons. Like,
I know
it's not just axes. And... They're what?
I know you can get different weapons. But my problem is the game series is a historically accurate game series.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you have an axe that is not, like, one of the axes I've seen doesn't make sense. Like, nobody in history has an axe like that, has ever had an axe like that, would never have an axe like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like cartoonish.
I don't think I've come across what you're referring to, but I get your point.
I haven't played any of them. The last time I played Assassin's Creed, I was living with you up there, and you had the first one on your Xbox.
I mean, that's that one and the third one, where you're the half Indian dude, Connor.
Yeah.
That's the last one I played. I wanted to play some of the other ones, but dude, starting a family, going through marriage and divorce, into another relationship, 3 jobs, career changes, athleticism changes, competing. Ain't no room for fucking video games. Like, and it sucks because I'm a gamer. But
yeah, no priorities, man.
Like right now, I'll put a couple hours here and there on like Mech Warrior or Gears of War. That's
Mech Warrior. Holy shit! You just threw me back, buddy.
Dude, I grew up on BattleTech.
That takes me back, man. I played Mech Warrior back in the day.
The books, the computer games, the games that on PlayStation and all that good stuff. That's what I was like. My crowd that I played D&D with in high school, like that was their second thing, like BattleTech, Mech Warrior. Like I had earned my right to be in the Davian Heavy Guards and all that shit.
I never could get it. I've never played though. I never played Magic until I was up there with you, and then I picked up on it. And we played every Sunday, I think.
Everything's fucking changed. Like Magic is like, I don't know. I like it. I like the old shit. But
yes, yeah.
I think the Planeswalker shit's just kind of.
I get it. They need something different, and a lot of the, to me, some of the cards have a story. Like there's certain cards, characters have a story, and I think the Planeswalker as well was needed to kind of continue that. Oh, snap, crackle, pop.
All right, man, you're getting old.
Shut up.
That's how it goes. Yep.
Luke, you're not even 30.
Yeah, I know, and my knee has been cracking like Rice Krispies up every single step for the past like 6 years.
Shit, I'm about to be 31, man. I'm getting old.
What the fuck?
And I will be 30 this month.
Yeah, I gotta order your birthday present.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Shut your face. I'm going to.
No.
You're gonna like it.
Of course I'm gonna like it, but no.
Oh well. You know how it is arguing with me.
I do. It's that head button skull you got.
Yes. I'll give you a small set your cap. You're gonna open a present. Luke didn't have a chance to meet Dad in his, I guess, heyday. He did meet Dad, but Dad was not Dad.
Yeah.
He only did. Luke only knows stories about Pop.
Unfortunately, the stories are a lot.
He was a guy, man. Like when I slept on the couch, like he would sleep in there in the recliner sometimes, and I'd be like trying to go to sleep when I was trying to go to sleep. Sometimes I'd be up until like almost daylight, but when I was actually trying to sleep, he would like wake me up at like randomly at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just talking. And I'd be like so half-assed asleep, but you could not go to sleep once that man finally started talking to you, man. Like he just kind of was like woke me up. He's like, there was this one time I bought a car, a brand new car. I worked at a grocery store. And he said, and my mom and my sister came and borrowed the car, wrecked it. And he's like,
Yep.
And then I got another one. They came back and did the same thing.
He was not impressed with his mother or his sister.
Like, I was just like, shit. Like, it sounds like my luck, like you buy something, it tears it up.
The people that knew him had stories about him.
I don't know. He used to always either screw with me or something. Like, we would be going through, heading towards, I think, Havelock. Well, no, I think we were in Harlow area, then going to Havelock. And then he was like always point over to some. He was like point over to some woods and shit, and always like try to screw with me, I guess, and tell me that there was like a UFO hidden out there by the military. And I don't know if he was telling the truth or he was screwing with me. So at this point, and I've always kind of wondered that because I was like, are you being real or are you just fucking with me? Like,
well, when you think about all that man has seen, UFO wise,
I would take his word for it.
I would. Because there was one that was floating over Cherry Point back in the 70s when he was stationed there for a while. It was like, he said it was like 3 football fields long. You could see it. You could see it all the way to, they got calls from not Cherry Point, but Lejeune, about it.
damn.
So, that's the story I heard all my life.
Big ass spaceship.
Yeah. And he was like, if they landed, I'd been the first one to go on.
That's what you tell me all the time, man. It's like when I'm like, dude, if they want to land, I'll go. And Brandon's like, man, you're too much like your grandfather in that aspect. Like,
yeah, fuck all that, dude. Yeah, I'm good.
You don't want to go and see what space is like, man.
No.
Imagine the space beer, man.
You can't even get him on an airplane, man. What makes you think you're going to get him on a spaceship?
You've never been on an airplane?
No.
What?
What? No, I don't want to. If I can drive there, I'm going to.
It's not
Airplanes
bad.
are to him as boats are to me.
Yeah, I'm against boats. Like,
well, do things I want to do in this life, but I will have good drugs.
And,
I mean,
I'll help you with that.
Someone's gonna have to weekend at Bernie's me on an airplane. And I just probably said something like, I referenced the movie. Fucking no one who ever listens to this is gonna understand.
You might be surprised. I think a lot of according to Spotify, a lot of our demographics is between 25 and 38, somewhere around that area. So
nice.
And then there's other people like me who's never seen the movie but does get the reference.
You've at least seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, right?
Actually, I didn't see it until just a few years ago.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like that. That would be the type of level I would have to be like to get on a boat. Like,
oh, I don't ever want to be that level on anything. Like I've done some stuff, but that is a lot of
seeing
stuff.
Johnny Depp come out with like the dinosaur tail on and like the whole hotel room fucked up. And then he starts like taking that drop, man, and he's sitting there freaking out like with the towel over his. Tell me the fucking story, man.
Yeah, I think we got a little sidetracked. Can't take myself seriously. Not that I ever do.
I don't take myself seriously. I gave up on that a long time ago.
No fun that way.
So speaking of such things, the controversy that happened like maybe a month ago with the God of War, the God of War depiction of Thor.
Oh,
I mean, a little bit bigger shoulders, bigger arms, biceps maybe, pretty much there, in my opinion. From what I understand from the lore, I agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming there's been a pretty much heated debate about whether or not he actually looks like that.
Dude, people are going to war over it, and it's like he's not nowhere in the lore that says he's a fat ass. Well, there's no one in the lore that he looks like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I mean, dude, he eats and drinks constantly. I mean, of course, he's gonna have somewhat of a belly, you know.
He's gonna have some weight, yeah.
Travel over to Bifrost for fear of breaking it.
Yeah, so he's got to be big.
You would
I'm
think,
just glad blonde. Like,
I'm glad they just didn't go the Marvel route with it. I mean, that's the
yeah.
I thought they were gonna do, or something like the kind of like a dad bod, for lack of a better term, like just a dude, just like average looking dude, just tall, red hair, beard, and just overly strong because he's God. Some bullshit like that.
I mean, really at least they didn't depict Thor like Cernabog from American Gods. You know, like the old guy with the wife beater on and the hammer.
Oh, dude, yeah, but that was such a good part. Such a good part. Even in the book, that was great.
I mean, he could have looked like that though. I mean,
you're right.
I don't think it's worth getting caught up what the gods are supposed to look like. Like, does that matter?
No,
not really.
But to a lot of people, it's a conversation that they want to hear about and have. So I figured we'd touch base on that since we got off on tangent. So
the thing is it's like, yeah. I think with any belief system, people are afraid that what they see in their mind is going to be wrong. Like, it's like that, scientifically accurate picture of Christ came out, and people are like, what the fuck? Like, he looks like a caveman. And I was like, dude, he was Jewish. I'm like, and it's from a time back then.
Yeah, you look at the region he came from.
Yeah, I'm like
Jewish, Middle Eastern.
I'm like, he's not blonde with or light sandy blonde with blue eyes. I'm like, what the hell? What do you expect?
Yeah, he doesn't look like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wasn't that like a theory that like it was Da Vinci's fucking lover, where the depiction of him?
No,
that everyone flipping.
So that was Mona Lisa that you're thinking of. Mona Lisa was supposedly like a female, like Da Vinci and drag kind of thing.
They're talking about like somebody was gay and all the depictions of Jesus are his lover.
No, so it's it's one of the Pope's sons, if I remember correctly. Like all the depictions of some guy. Shit, what's his name? It's not Constantine.
From the painting, he was a very pretty fellow.
Yeah, well, so the guy is like he's like somebody's. He's somebody's son in like the Catholic Church, like, and they used his face as he like used somebody's like his face as like the picture of Christ. I don't know. I'm like,
wow, imagine that, the Catholic Church using a young boy's face.
Oh shit.
Let me touch your shillelagh.
Now, hey, we gotta be careful. Now we're gonna have Opus Dei after us, like, we're gonna have a bunch of people dressed up as monks, like the albino monk from the Da Vinci Code.
Bro, they ain't gonna do nothing but whip themselves. It's okay.
Oh shit.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah, isn't it a sin to have violent thoughts even? Like, come on.
I know, right? I think people get like, they don't like what they feel that they believe is true to be remotely questionable. So it's like when they develop this idea of, like what a god looks like or what a goddess would look like or whatever. I mean, shit, for all we know, they could come back and be like gray aliens, and we would be, and we'd be like, well, okay, what the hell? Or they could come back and definitely not be exactly what we imagine them. But we don't have any historical like. We have like carvings, I guess, of like what people perceive them to look like, and word of
Well, I
mouth.
mean, there's a lot of descriptions in the lore.
Yeah.
Descriptions, very vague. I guess you could say very vague descriptions. Like old, he looks like an old man, or he looks like this, or he can't walk over the Bifrost because he's so heavy for fear of breaking it. I mean, like, so I got like this whole Thor thing. I was like, so the fucker looks like me with red hair. That's what I get from all this thing. But it's what it is. I'm not saying I got the body of God, but
you never know. I mean,
I would expect Thor to be about as equivalently strong.
Well, see, technically, if you want to go off of the stories, it's the gadgets that Thor has that's what makes him strong. His gloves, his belt, and the hammer.
No, he's strong, but they help him be stronger. He's already strong. Like,
I mean, because he's half giant anyway.
Yes, which means like, see, to me, I always interpreted it that he was the champion of the gods, not the strongest of them. The strongest of the gods to me was always his son Magni, because even at infant stage, Thor killed a giant, and it fell on top of him, and no one could lift the giant off, and he was pretty much saying his goodbyes to his family because he was going to lay there and die. He couldn't get up. So as a toddler, Magni crawls over and lifts the giant off his father. So to me, that Magni's name literally is might. That to me is he's the strongest of the gods. Thor just happens to be the champion. Does that make sense?
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm probably wrong in somebody's eyes, which is fine. But this is my take on it from what I've read. Because I look at it's kind of like me and my son. You can ask Luke, I'm a shadow of my former self. I fully expect my son to surpass me at some point. Hopefully.
I think that's what every father wants.
Yes. But it is it's to me that's how I look at things. And because I respect strength in all sports. It doesn't matter. Like I've read the story of Samson and Delilah from the Bible and all that shit because hey, someone made a reference about it being, him being strong, like Hercules and stuff like that, because we all grew up loving Hercules and all that mess. So I've read it, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's not just a song from the 50s. And so I keep track of that stuff. And that's when you get into, for me, that's when you come up with the topic of like patrons. You know what I mean? Patron gods, that kind of thing. Where people start calling themselves Odin's son or Tyrson's or Man of Tyr or whatever the fuck. And so like this goes back to like having like dreams. Years ago, before I even knew who like really Magni was, I haven't because he's technically a minor deity. You know what I mean? You there?
Yeah. We're nodding. Yeah.
We're listening intently.
I can't see Luke anymore. I see a fucking fan.
Oh, all right. Here, let me just move. I'm just trying to be comfortable, man.
There's my buddy.
I was sitting there. I was like, I see him fine. I was like, are you? How many have you had?
Nope. Don't worry about this shit. But no, like, so like, I would have dreams and I'd have this random shit just pop in my head, like daydreams. Like I'd have names, like the Magni name would get stuck in my head, and like I knew nothing about where that came from. I had started walking this path, but I haven't gotten that far. I mean, I was at I was the pup stage, and I'd have these dreams because y'all three know strength athlete for a very long time. Probably still will be once I get past being married again. So strength and performance and stuff like that matter greatly to me. So like I felt like I had dreams I was shown things that I was capable of. I will be capable of. I will do. Like so much weight on a bar, I have to ratchet down with ratchet straps. And anyone who's ever seen like a strongman video of powerlifting, that is a thing. Like if you can only fit so much on a fucking standard bar, so you do what you gotta do. Shit I had never thought I would ever do. This was before all the injuries that I've had. So that's how like I felt like I was being communicated with from this particular minor deity. And so I do have a definite draw to say, like, I guess the lineage of Thor kind of calls to me a little bit more, even though a lot of people are like, well, that's cliche. You're a big dude. You're also oh, motherfucker, I'm a big dude. I could be like, yeah, Heimdall's where it's at. But no, like this is like legit things that I've experienced. And it kind of goes from there. Like you take that as you will. I mean, it's just, and then that's when I started reading all this other shit. Like the story of Thor with the giant falling on him, stuff like that. And that's really one of the only, other than like Ragnarok, that's the only other times you hear about Magni and his brother, his twin. You don't even really hear that much about Third, their sister. She's a Valkyrie. And that one blows people's fucking minds. But I'm just here.
I mean, that's the thing is, I think that, like, if you look back at all the stories, like, Bragi was not even a god. Like, in the beginning, he was.
Yeah, he became one.
Yeah, he was brought into godhood because he fell in love with someone, and it kind of makes you like, because when he fell in love with Idun, and it makes you wonder. It's like, okay, how the hell was that even possible? Like, where did you meet a goddess at? Like what the hell?
God, could the gods come to Earth in a human form or their form, just dressed as not, you're not walking around in a fucking tunic and chainmail or some shit. They have that, at some point.
Yeah. And it's just kind of is interesting because it shows that being a god, I guess, in the Norse pantheon can be a choice in a way. It's like, kind of like, because if Bragi became a god simply just because he married a goddess, it shows that you could either obviously become a god if it's offered to you as like an honor from the gods or whatever, which is kind of weird because it kind of makes you wonder, like, you really want to know more about Bragi in that situation, but unfortunately they don't shed too much light on it. Now, as far as Thor's daughter becoming being a Valkyrie, I mean, I think that she could choose that. Obviously, like, I don't want to be a goddess. I'd rather do this or whatever. I mean, it just kind of makes you.
Well, I kind of have because of some ways that things are interpreted to me from people who have different abilities. I feel like you can choose to not go to Valhalla if you are picked. Like, you're tired, you don't want that. You earn it, but you don't want it. You can go to paradise and have it as it is supposed to be. Rest, wisdom, the whole shebang, your ancestors. I feel like it's a choice. It's not a choice to get picked, but a choice to accept it. Same thing with Wolfinger. Being picked by Freya, which, not everybody wants to talk about because it's not as cool as Valhalla, but whatever.
Hey, she's got cats.
I mean, what's wrong with cats, man? I mean, come on.
Nothing is wrong. Jesus fuck. Nothing's wrong with that. Just saying. But if you like, I feel like it's a choice.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you were in the right, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to be a very popular assumption. You know, but it is what it is. And from what I've conversations I've had with people, you know, there's a few people out there that kind of have the same kind of idea. Like, why would you have just yeah, you got picked for this, you have no fucking choice but to do it, even if you don't want to. Because not all warriors want to fucking spend their afterlife that way.
No,
So
eventually they're just gonna be tired and want to go out and just be done.
yeah. You know, some people even try to say like, you know, the criteria of things change at times. I mean, it's pretty fucking cut and dry.
Well, I think there's a logical sense to it as well. Like Valhalla is supposed to be for the warriors to fight Ragnarok, to fight at Ragnarok. You don't want a warrior that doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
So if you get picked for Valhalla, but you don't want to fight, why would you stay there? Why would they keep you there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like military basic training. You know, it's just the way I kind of view Valhalla as. You know, everybody goes there, they get trained up, they beat the hell out of each other, you know, and then wait for
they feast, you know, the next thing. But it's kind of like you know, because you know, people like who you always get asked, you know, about Valhalla, and that's the first thing people mention. You know, this why can't it be a choice? We have choices for everything else. You know, I think a choice like, hey, I want to kind of hang out with my family after I pass on. You know, haunting. You know, I feel like that could be a choice, and I also feel like you know the normal reasons of a spirit being stuck here are still there, but it's just maybe I look too much into the afterlife. Who knows?
I mean, I think the ability to be able to walk between worlds, like afterlife and go in between different halls and different, I guess, wherever we're at.
It's kind of like a grandpa. Like, I don't think he's any one place because he liked to walk, he liked to wander, he liked to just, he didn't like being told he couldn't go anywhere. So, I mean, why the fuck isn't he walking around? Because there's a lot of, like, the last few years of his life, he wasn't allowed to go and walk. You know, he got found almost walking into the woods by Brian, you know, because he left the house and didn't say nothing to mom because of the dementia. And he thought he was going through the woods was going to be going home. So, you know, I feel like he's just kind of doing his thing, walking around, checking on who's and what's it, going to seeing anything the fuck he wants to see. That's what it is.
I don't know, man. I mean, there's kind of like a deep message in that one little part right there. It's like he felt like he was going home, but you know he was walking into the woods, and I mean it's kind of like, you know, there's like that connect with nature. I feel like that he wants, and you know maybe felt in that moment.
He at that point, like he would sit in the house and be like, "Hey, I want to go home," but he couldn't answer where home was because at that point, like he was regressed to like Alabama could have still been his home. So he said, "You want to go to the Dothan?" And he wouldn't say anything. You know. So I think I think you're kind of right. There's with his state of mind, there was kind of a could have been something else there. It's kind of like you know Brian passing away. You know, me and Luke always had the quote. You know, we don't think your God will, you know, allow us to come see you, kind of thing from Vikings with Ragnar and Alcestan. You know, because Brian was a Baptist, um, and I refused to be stopped with. I want to see my friend again. I'm going to. You know, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
No deity, Christian or otherwise, is going to stop me. You know, he was my brother. The reason I am the way I am has a lot to do with him. Do I feel like he comes and goes too? I feel like he checks on everybody he loved. Because there's been a couple times I felt him, that competition I had right after he passed away, him and Dad were both there. Every time I walked up to an implement to compete, I felt their hands on my shoulders. That's just how I feel about it. And I don't feel like, Brian was a Baptist, like I said, but he also had Eastern influences because of martial arts background. But he also understood where my beliefs were, and he was very intelligent. And his thing, he had a master's in English lit, so he loved to read. He loved story, and he understood where I was coming from with my beliefs, and I know people are going to bitch about it, but he did incorporate a little, some of the ideals, not the beliefs, but the ideals of some things into everyday life. After, he did a lot of research on it because he wanted to be able to speak to me about things and not sound ignorant. So that's kind of how I inevitably, I said it fucking wrong. You get the picture.
Yeah.
The afterlife. Because even in, as I say, paradise, you can go and seek the wisdom or something like that. That doesn't mean you're stuck on one fucking plane, because you're only gonna learn so much there.
No, I mean, obviously, I think that in some of the stories we kind of get that, with, I mean, granted, Odin kind of summoned her, but the giantess, when he summoned her to kind of get, I think she was dead, if I remember correctly. So he summons her, brings her back to life to get, like, confirmation about something to seek wisdom, and she talks about Baldur's death, kind of like, predicts it. Hell's preparing a place for him right now, so on and so forth. But
I see.
Yeah, and then we also have this, like me and we were talking about earlier, like Draugr, obviously the scariest form of zombies. Obviously, there's some essence of being able to come back after death, and your spirit kind of linger around, because basically, if I remember correctly, the whole ideal concept of a Draugr was they did that to scare off people who sought to like plunder their graves and plunder all that area or wherever they were buried at, and so it was like a scare tactic, really. It's just some of the stories I've heard about it. So it shows that we're here in some form or another, in some aspect. And obviously, if you're here well enough to watch your grave, then obviously you're not just stuck in hell, or you're stuck in Bilkskin or wherever. You're wandering around. So I mean, to me, it makes sense.
I mean, yeah. Why would you be stuck anywhere in any one place? Other than like if you were the worst of the worst, then you got stuck in that mist. Then yeah, you ain't going fuck anywhere. But I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I guess it's kind of how I've always thought about the afterlife, because it helps me not worry about dying. You know what I mean? Which I'm not entirely worried about it. I know it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. It just makes it a little easier to handle if you kind of have that. Well, I'm not going to be stuck in any two places.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
I think good.
So there's 9 worlds, and we live in one, Midgard. When we die, we go to, for instance, you go to Helheim, or you go to Asgard, wherever. So from life, you go to death, and that's a transference of one world to another. So clearly we can transfer ourselves from one world to another. Like, why would that stop? Why would we cease to have that ability? In fact, it would make a lot more sense that being able to make that first jump from one world to the next would allow us to travel to the other worlds.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at it from like a perspective of like, this body is the only thing preventing us from jumping around and moving back and forth because unfortunately it's got limitations. And when you remove those limitations, at that point we're either just spirit or ethereal or consciousness or whatever you want to call it, and be able to transition wherever we want to. And I mean, and the way I kind of view it is, I'm like, granted, we're not Odin. We can't just poof, here we are, like, just like he does. But I think that wholeheartedly we have an ability to transition into different things and to go different places that we want to go. I think I know a question I had when I first started doing this, I'd never talked on it. It was like, reincarnation and Norse paganism. Like, I mean, I could have swore maybe in the past I've heard stories about that happening with someone, but it's not talked about too much. It's kind of like a.
Some of the kings, there's stories like in the sagas and stuff like that. I think of like, or just kind of word of mouth, where like certain kings kind of made an indication that they were talking to themselves, like.
Shit.
All right.
Who fucked up?
There was some weird ass fucking noises outside.
I could have swore that you had like shirt sleeves a minute ago. Like now,
You probably did.
Like with
His undershirt.
I was like, you just went out there, and ripped your shirt off, like you're ripped in half. Like, ah, what the hell are you doing?
Other shirt was restrictive. You never know.
Brandon smash.
I was like, you hulked out, man.
I think it was some coyotes or something. There's some
Probably
fucking pattern noises.
Yeah, we've apparently had a lot of coyote movement around here lately. New generations finding new homes.
Yeah.
We have it a lot out here, but there's supposedly a cryptid that lives like 2.5, 3 miles up the road at this stupid farm where they play like concerts at. And people go out there all the time looking for it. I think I heard rumor that somebody believes it's a skinwalker, and then I heard another rumor that it's a skunk ape. So who knows? I would rather take a werewolf over a stinky ape any day, to be honest. But
I think the stink is a little bit more likely.
I'm like, that's the thing, man. I don't get. Let's get back to the deep topic though before we go off on skunk apes. I'll save that one for the end. But so, reincarnation and Norse paganism. You were trying to tell a story about a king. That was
fucking one of the Trigvassons, I think, and he got fucking tore up drunk one night, and a witness said that he was riding his horse by one of the pagan king burial mounds, and he was talking to it like he was talking to like him, saying "we" shit like that. So I think like in his intoxicated state, he kind of had some like either that or he had already had the feeling of such things was going on, and he was kind of he recognized what it was, and that it. I feel like I'm not making sense, but like he knew, but he kept it a secret, and then when he got fucking tore up drunk, he just was like, "Fuck it, I want to talk to this bitch." Even though he's basically having a conversation with himself at a burial mound. And there used to be there's a couple of authors back in the day when I first started reading a lot of stuff. They said like you had the option to come back, kind of like if part of you, if you didn't, if your Urlog wasn't there to where you wanted it, I guess, and like parts of your soul could come back and kind of keep on doing what you were doing.
I mean, in a sense, that makes a lot of sense because if you look at the construct of the soul in Norse paganism, the what is called as the Megan, right? Our souls are a tapestry, and then every time we have children or we have ancestors, part of ourselves is interwoven into the soul of that other individual. So that's the reason why we have traits developed from our grandfathers and our grandmothers and whatever, and that's the reason why we have that connection. It's an ancestral carry on, so to speak. And I kind of feel like if that's 100% true, then I don't see why it would be possible to pass memories and pass a past self through that onto somebody else.
Like genetic memory and shit like that. But it's kind of like giving someone naming your child after somebody. Like I named McCarley after her great grandmother. And then later I realized that my great grandmother was crazy. And I had heard that, when you do that, when you name someone after somebody, they kind of inherit traits from that individual. So immediately I was like, fan-fucking-tastic. Because apparently McCarley Shepherd was a self-proclaimed evangelist, forcibly baptized, your grandpa, shit like that.
I mean, you know more about it than I do when it comes to that, because I mean, the only thing I've ever done was delve into the genealogy aspects, looking all the way down the family line, but I don't know her personally. That's the thing. I mean, growing up, I've only heard stories like about Grandpa, and the stories of the family history kind of like never was talked about too much because I don't think my mom ever felt that was important to really kind of harbor and like remember, like like where do these people come from, type of thing. So
Since a lot of people don't, and that's keeping memories alive. Like you can ask Luke, we constantly tell stories about my dad and Brian and people that have passed away on Jamie's side of the family. We constantly do it. Like McCarley knows who all these people are without even ever meeting them or remembering that she was a wee baby when her grandpa and Brian passed away. There's pictures of her with them, so she knows them through stories. She can look at a picture and be like, "That's my grandpa. That's my papa."
Shit, me and him cracking up, laughing, talking about random stuff, and then his how he wanted to be taxidermied and turned into a coat, turned into a coat hanger.
He said, "I want to be stuffed and mounted on a cart with wheels, with a heart on."
So people could like hang their coats or their hats or whatever, put a cane on it. I mean,
we reached the point in the show where we've had another Monty Python moment.
We really did.
We are never going to be taken seriously.
No, I mean, this is like, that's the cool thing about this. Is this not like a one topic type of thing, like, and that's what makes it this type of stuff interesting. Yeah, I mean, of course, I want to do like one topic discussions and stuff, and there's ways that we
situation the Q&A, especially when there's no people asking Q's.
Yeah.
We kind of have free reign, and that's bad.
Yeah, I need some guidance. Otherwise, I'm gonna put this train off of the tracks every time. Like
you think with the growth. I mean, you think with the growth, you think with the way it's grown, the podcast on Spotify and the YouTube channel, that you would have more people in it, I guess. But we're
still comparatively, we're still fucking new. Yeah. So like we ain't shit compared to some of the ones that have been doing it for a minute. Which is
but 216 subscribers is good, but that's only 216. Imagine how many people have that kind of time.
They'll probably watch the edited, and I have some questions in the questions and comments in the comments section. Hopefully, but you never know.
I mean, I think like go.
Like act like fucking emails. It's really cool to interact with people through this stuff because being on the radio like I was, you didn't get to really interact with a whole lot of people off the show.
Friendships and like a community with these people because I'm like, if it wasn't for their time and their listenership and everything, I wouldn't be here doing this. So,
and that's why I set up the Discord the way I did. Like, we've got
Yeah.
tabs for like crafting if people want to make like heathen inspired like arts and crafts stuff. There's a whole thread for that. Obviously,
More
we've
about
got a lot of more about the what?
all about that shit. The crowd, like
Yeah.
keeping it local.
Yeah, we got one for crafting. We got one for tattoos. I made a section for military because I mean, there's a lot of
Well-
military heathens apparently.
Yes.
But and then we've also got like a literature discussion. So we can talk about books and stuff like that. There's people that do runes and tarot readings. We've got something for that. So yeah, the whole point is to build the community.
We could get my witch friend Danny on here.
That would be awesome.
I've met Danny before, the one from Virginia, yeah.
Yeah, Danny's a hoot.
She's done I think she's gotten to the point where she's reading bones now, as well.
Shit.
Oh wow!
Like she's trying all the different forms. She's one of those witches that like Wicca.
I met her when we went out to eat sushi that one time, and I screwed up and ate the ginger leaf thing, and like it lit my stomach on fire. Like
The pickled ginger.
Yeah, it like made me sick because it's just like I don't know what it did. Dude, that's some crap, man. It's like the people like there was a whistleblower, dude. He was like involved. I want to say it was Detroit. I could be wrong, or was it Denver? There's somewhere. Like he was digging. He was a military contractor digging underground to help him like do the military thing, like to enhance the base or whatever. And like got into like a gunfight with like a bunch of aliens underground. And then like when he went public with the story, like they found him sitting in a chair, claimed that he committed suicide, but there was no drugs in his system, and there was like no rope marks around his neck, but they said he hung himself. And then they later found that there was like the rubber tourniquet things that they use in hospitals to like cut the blood flow off. They found that next to his chair, and if you strangle somebody with one of those, it will not leave a mark. So they said that they believe that it was like the government that killed him off to stop him from talking about stuff.
Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the last.
There was that one dude.
Look how they did Epstein, man.
And there was and then there was that other dude, man, who like predicted down to the way he would die, because he came out publicly about like some secret government operations or whatever, and he died exactly the way he predicted it. But I don't know if Brandon's ever told you, like, our grandfather's brother had a fear of trains, right? Like he always had a fear that he would be, killed by trains, but he was involved in Project Blue Book. And supposedly my grandmother and grandpa, when they were married at the time, they were going to see him, and then him and his entire family got killed by a train. And on a train track. Yeah, but he always had a fear.
He told me that one.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. And I was just like, you gotta be shitting me. And I heard this from and I ran it by Grandpa like when I was up there, and he confirmed it. He was like, yeah, that's actually what happened. He was like, but I didn't know like I didn't know he was involved in Blue Book. I just always heard the story, and I just thought it was kind of weird and coincidental. And so like when me and him were talking about it, he was like, no, yeah. He said, he thinks that some shady shit happened, and that's why it happened. So he knew too much, possibly.
Yes, knowledge is dangerous.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes knowing too much is an issue.
Yes, I mean even Odin says you should be middle wise.
Not all wise, just a little wise.
Wise enough to your capabilities. Don't try to be overly wise.
I mean, we got to stop talking nice here.
Fuck y'all.
No, we were talking about Grandpa's brother, like how he had that fear about how he had that fear of trains, and then his entire family was killed by it, and then he was involved in Blue Book.
Oh yeah, that was like one of the first ghost stories my dad ever told me too.
Yeah, that's terrifying. How old were you when he told you that one?
What?
How old were you when he told you that one?
10.
Shit, I'd be scared of trains.
No. Basically, like he was in bed, and WA would always wake him up, and when they do stuff together by wiggling his toe. So basically, like WA was supposed to be somewhere another state.
He was moving to Huntsville, Alabama, I think.
Yeah, and Dad said he woke up to him wiggling his big toe, and then he was just gone. So Dad gets up, and by the time he gets to out the door to the living room, his mother meets him and says the same thing happened to her. And by the time they got a call, explaining everything that happened, they tried to get to the hospital that they were at, but they pretty much were taken off life support. Like the head damage was so bad, like their heads were like the ones that survived making it to the hospital. Their heads were triple the size that they were supposed to be from like fluid and damage and shit like that, and they passed away. And that's the first like ghost story my dad ever told me that he experienced.
I mean, just looking at Luke, you know, you could tell his brain's like.
I see a fucking headphone.
Dude, yeah, these things are a little ridiculous. Like,
is your mic on your headphone?
Yeah, it's right here.
So that's genius, man. I need to get something to get rid of this boon that I got sticking out in front of my face. Like, it blocks off half the chat sometimes. So
your audio quality is probably better, but I do have this cool feature where I can just lift the mic up like this. I just bring it back down like this, and
that's genius.
Yeah, I mean, I got a phone. I'm surprised you haven't heard me fart.
Oh no, that's thanks to Discord. It filters out stuff.
I mean, you do have your mic, right, in the new laptop and everything.
I have it. I just don't have it hooked up yet.
I mean, yeah, I've always heard that story, and I was always interested in it. Like, and I actually, when I first,
he never elaborated too much on the other part that he felt like, you know, like the whole killed by the government.
Because I mean, the first time I heard it came from my grandmother, Maxine. And she told me the story because I think they were married at the time or something along those lines, or like knew each other, or like dating, married. I don't know the time frame, but she said that they were supposed to go see him, was what it boiled down to. And then they were on their way to Huntsville or something when it happened. Like, we're about to go to Huntsville when it happened. And then that's the story I heard. And then when I asked Grandpa about it, like when I was up there, he kind of like confirmed some of it, but he didn't go as to much detail about like the ghostly aspect of it with me.
Yeah, the ghostly aspect fucked me up a little bit. Like, I was paranoid about my fucking feet sticking out underneath the cover, shit like that. But those normal kids stuff.
It's just your uncle, man, coming to play with your toes, man. This little piggy went to the market. This little piggy went home.
Don't fuck with my feet.
You know, I hate feet too, man. You know that. Like,
yeah, it's not bad.
No one's gonna listen to all this.
No, that's the reason why I'm gonna chop it up, like condense it. It's like what I did with I did that with the anchor part. I chopped up some of the stuff and then edited it out, like to try to level out the audio for like our voices, and then
I
unfortunately,
think the video is good
yeah,
to kind of give a voice.
the video was good. And then when I edit this, I'm gonna try to do the same thing. What I might do is like rip the audio completely, edit the audio, and then throw it in there with the clips, so that way the audio sounds good with the clips, and just do it that way. We'll see. I'm at least pretty decent when it comes to editing some stuff, so we'll see about it.
Oh yeah, I think this next one we need to have a topic.
No, yeah. Basically, I just wanted to do a Q&A thing to see, since the growth was as much as it was, and see if maybe anybody wanted to chime in, say anything, and talk about anything random, unscripted. Yeah, but I mean that story though, like you elaborating on the ghostly side of it, it's pretty interesting to hear that, because I wish he would have told me that, but he like kind of withheld some of it, I guess. But I've always been skeptical though about like paranormal stuff until like the day I saw like, my first UFO, and then after that I was just kind of like, well, you know, maybe I have to accept this and reality check. Yeah.
Like the day I saw Bigfoot. I always wanted it to be real, but then I knew.
I think the day that I see footage where somebody actually gets up close to him, I'll probably be like, okay.
Here's the problem. There's been footage of such things, but everyone just chalks it up to
Fake.
But like, I watch a lot of video, I watch a lot of footage, and there's always people like, oh, it's not real. It can't be real. It's Pearson in a suit. All the clear shit that you see, people write it off as hoax just all of a sudden.
It's like the way the government did with aliens and UFOs, like make it to where either A, we're afraid of it, or B, we don't take it seriously.
And some of the stuff that I've seen, like the way these things are built, like you would literally have to convince one of the world's strongest men to dress up in a fucking monkey suit and walk through the woods. None of them are going to do that unless you give them a free benefit.
Half Thor would do it. You could pay him to do it. Guarantee it.
He fucking screw a dog money. That's basically what it looks like.
I mean, isn't he going into like kickboxing or something now?
He's in boxing. Him and Eddie Hall are blowing each other trying to fucking do a fight.
Yeah.
It's getting old. But no, like you look at the good footage and everyone just chalks up, oh, it's too good. It was planned out, it's a hoax. Okay. Here's some grainy footage because someone was shaking, running after this thing, whatever have you. It's too grainy. Nothing's ever good enough. And that's with everything paranormal, cryptid, all that stuff. Nothing's ever good enough.
Have you seen any of the weird cryptid footage about like? There was like one I watched a few days ago because I watched Paranormal caught on camera just because it's like what I do on Thursdays, right? But it's like it plays like I watch it on Discovery Plus because I refuse to have cable, so I just like have random apps I watch stuff on. So
now you really want Discovery Plus.
So it's on there. I watched it there, and they had one where this lady's security camera footage went off at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. She was like in Florida, I think, and it had a raptor, like a dinosaur raptor, running across her backyard.
You my girl, Blue.
Yeah, and I know I was just kind of like, what the hell, like, and I'm like, but it's. Yes, but at the same time, you can see it's got like a long reptile tail. Like it's pretty interesting. And then you're just kind of like, what the hell? And then there was some more footage of like a pterodactyl flying through the air, like in middle of like a cloudy day, and then you can tell it's not faked. because
those kind of sightings have been around for hundreds of years. Like ever since like they've documented that shit. Like people have seen pterodactyls. Like you see, like still have legends of the stories of the Thunderbird, which is a giant eagle.
Here, I thought it was a car.
I love how that, like, towards the end of American Gods season 3, they started incorporating like the Native American aspect to it, and they started having like the Thunderbird.
They missed like one of my favorite characters, Whiskey Jack. Like in the first season, he's part of like the one when you figure out like there's certain people who don't like Wednesday. Like Whiskey Jack was like my favorite person.
The thing is like with that, like now we'll never know, all because people wanted to like stop the show because Manson being in it or whatever. We'll never have. Manson was in season 3 as a berserker, like a Finnish metalhead berserker guy.
Like Marilyn Manson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I really need to.
He actually does like some good death metal screams too, which I was like shocked about. I was like, what the hell?
He's been doing it for decades. Of course he did.
No, this was like different than what he usually does as far as screaming goes. Like this was like he was trying to channel some like Children of Bodom-ish type of stuff. Like it was pretty good, surprisingly.
You gotta get that Lexi in there. You're good.
After, so I guess I've watched season 3. They incorporated the Native American aspect, and then I was kind of anticipating what was going to happen next in season 4 because obviously we know kind of like how the story kind of ends if you've read the book. Like, you know,
the book is fucking amazing.
I mean, that's the reason why.
Huh?
So I still need to read those and finish watching.
One. American Gods is just one book.
Yeah.
Oh.
They've stretched it out this long.
Wow. Good job. Did they include everything?
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman, dude, is just he's crazy. Like with his writing style.
Like he's helping stretch the story out, kind of thing, from what I understand.
Yeah, he's involved in the TV show. Like,
which is really cool.
He's heavily involved too in Sandman, so he's gonna be there when that comes out.
Well, it's not like favorite, because I think the Lucifer that we see on TV is part of his universe, the Neil Gaiman universe, what he's done. And I heard, because I really enjoy Keanu Reeves and John Constantine.
Yes,
they're trying to bring him back.
Yeah, as John Constantine with Lucifer, this Lucifer, because they're part of the same universe.
Now I know that there was like a unit, like whatever it's called. Is it Universe 66 or whatever the hell it's called? There's an episode with the new Constantine in there with Lucifer, and he shows up and they're talking at the Lux. But I remember. But I heard that it was like not his world. It was kind of like a crossover kind of aspect. So yeah, I think right now too, the Marvel and DC are fighting because they want Keanu Reeves to be Ghost Rider, like for Marvel.
No.
Now, so the original thing I heard about him is like they originally had him trying to make him Adam Warlock. And
I would have loved him as Adam Warlock, but
I
not Ghost
Rider. I wanted him to be Moon Knight as well.
Now I heard that Moonlight was supposed to be the dude from Harry Potter. Like he was heavily considered for it, like the guy Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, now it's the dude from fucking Dune and the
Star
new
Wars.
Star Wars series.
They're also remaking the Star Wars movies, from what I heard. Like the new ones.
Oh, Luke.
Oh, I heard season 4 confirmed.
No, they have the Ewok movies on Disney Plus.
Oh, that. No, I don't want to talk about that.
Season 4 of what confirmed?
Apparently, Gina Carano is coming back for season 4 of Mandalorian 4.
Yeah. I heard that on the news. I was pretty stoked about that.
They're getting ready to do the Book of Fett.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett drops in December.
And then the second season of Witcher drops in December as well.
Have you watched Lock and Key? Like,
Part of
it's like some. It's kind of it's kind of like some inspired from like H.P. Lovecraft stuff or what have you somehow, and it's like a graphic novel. Have you seen Lovecraft? I haven't seen Lovecraft Country.
It's fucking crazy. Like I've watched bits and pieces. It's crazy. Like it's pretty fucking good.
They better give me Cthulhu or I'm walking out from it. I'm not gonna watch it.
Just watch that underwater thing. That movie with Kristen Stewart. That's fucking Cthulhu.
Is it?
They confirmed that. Oh yeah, they confirmed that. It's like that's Cthulhu. I mean, look at it.
Which movie?
It's called Underwater. It's one where she's on that like fucking underwater station.
Okay, I think I watched that with you because I wouldn't voluntarily watch a movie about being underwater like that.
No, that's what shocked me so much. But no, like it's Cthulhu. The fucker has the same wings, the whole shebang. It's
so I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's supposedly like real footage of a creature that looks just like Cthulhu. That was spotted somewhere, like coming up out of the ocean, by somebody, and it was like featured on like a bunch of stuff as like being like legit footage. I don't know if it is or not, but if whoever did it, if it's not legit, hands down, they need to be in Hollywood, like, because it was some believable crap.
Well, it's like that submarine footage that we got. They were looking for something on the thing, and then you could see something big like swim by just outside of the light. So they turned the lights off, and you can kind of see like this weird eye shine. And then they flip them on real quick, and you see this big ass fucking head just back up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why Brandon does not do the ocean. Like even if
why are you scared of the ocean?
There's a reason that's like, you know what, that just confirms that's why I walk around the fucking storm drains as a kid, because of fucking Pennywise.
Dude, I tried to get my kids to watch Pennywise, but I wanted to make them watch the old one, not the new one. And
the old one's thanks, in my opinion. Two different kind of horror.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like to me, the original it was very psychological.
The new one's more like the gory, just shock factor.
Yeah. You really want to scare the shit out of them, though. Give them the audiobook.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm shocked Stephen King didn't end up on a watch list after that story.
Oh, you mean about his the child orgy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably should be on a list after that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes. He probably is on a list. It's just that one list of all the people that went to Epstein's Island.
Ooh.
You know, the same one that Tom Hanks is on.
I'm picking up with this, Luke. I know what you're doing. I will use the outlet.
He's
all outlets.
He's here to spread his message of corruption.
Oh, dude.
Look,
like,
what's so bad about freedom, man?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
No, man. Yeah, well. It's like Luke was telling me earlier, like he was talking about like the Rand meditation video ritual music thing I put out, and he was like, you put it out like about one of the least favorite goddesses of his. You know, I didn't know he was like afraid of the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not a fan.
No, not a fan.
She's got good
I'll
mead.
Go swimming in the ocean. You know, you can get good mead in a lot of places, and probably really good mead in all of the places after Midgard. So you know what? I'm fine.
But she throws good parties too, though.
You know, I'm sure Tyr throws some pretty good parties too. He seems like a chill guy. I'd like to go hang with him. But I would prefer to go hang out with the dwarfs and just make shit.
You gotta help him open up his pickle jars.
I mean, that's fine. I don't have any problem helping the disabled.
God damn.
Look, he's missing a hand. Hey, you can't help that.
He still beat your ass.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I will open all of his pickle jars.
Drive by nubbin.
God. No, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I ended up so because it's like there's a lot of people who obviously like the, I guess I don't know what you really want to call them, like the sea gods and goddesses, like Aer, Ran, the Nine Daughters of Chaos, North, and so I think too a lot of people get confused. Like, why is there two gods of the ocean? A lot of people need to remember, like, Njord is not truly the god of the ocean. He's kind of he does something else, where Aer is like kind of like the main man for the whole thing. Njord is kind of like the
I think Njord is sea storms.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a storm, and like in my interpretation, like the shallows, more or less, because Ran is like
the depths.
Ran and Air, the depths and shit like that. They're gods of different parts of the fucking ocean, apparently.
Yeah.
Or water.
The ocean's huge. Of course, there's more than one.
I mean, the only thing about the ocean that freaks me out is one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how far down this thing goes. Like, I've watched somewhere they do like the docu-series where they like take like a submarine and they like try to go to the deepest part of the ocean before the thing starts cracking under pressure and they have to go back up. And I'm like, I don't know what all's down there. Like, we only have, like, I think if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. We've only explored 10% of the ocean, if even that. Like, as far as the depths. So there is no telling what the hell is down there.
It's like remember that whole fire off randomly in the middle of the ocean due to like an oil leak or some shit like that? It's like maybe a few months ago. Around the same time, like there was a fucking destroyer out in the middle of the ocean blowing something up. And they were just testing a new bomb, new torpedo, or whatever have you.
Well, you know that, I mean, from the, like, even the UFO, like, the Nimitz footage and shit, too. Like, a lot of these UFOs go underwater. Like, they become submersible. And I watched, like, a couple of shows about it, like this Expedition Unknown crap, which typically they never find anything on Expedition X or Expedition Unknown. It's kind of like...
But he never finds a fucking thing. And if he does, they don't televise it.
Now, Expedition X, like, they went out there and they looked for, like, around the ocean in California, and they actually caught one coming up, like, out of the water, going straight up into the air when this dude was down there looking for it, and a light hit him, like, shining at him when he was under the water. And then there was another one where they went to some kind of cult that was forming in Japan? Or China or Japan, somewhere, where these people are communicating with aliens telepathically through meditation, and they had proof because when they were there, they started doing like MRI scans and stuff on their brain, and noticed like the brain patterns and everything were shifting. And then this one guy got up out of the meditation and said, "One's here," and about that time they turn around and one looks like it's kind of like the ones I get, like the ones that look like a huge star that are just glowing super bright. It was like floating above there and then took off when they started chasing it.
So, was this on Discovery Plus?
Expedition X, yeah.
They've got some good stuff on there. It's worth it.
Like, I will watch Finding Bigfoot till I can't.
Discovery Plus, man, has a lot of good stuff on there. I mean, like, I watched a lot of the Alien docu-series. Like, I watched Skinwalker Ranch because one of the guys who's on there is from Alabama. He's a teacher from here.
Once you get past, like, the bullshit, like, TV show stuff and start diving into that, ooh, they got some shit going on. Crazy shit.
Yeah, no, I've looked into some of the stuff because I was kind of curious about it, and it's crazy. It's some really crazy, and the best theory, it seems more logical in a sense, is that place is just a portal. Like, that's the reason why they get the skinwalkers. That's the reason why they get the UFOs. That's the reason why they get all of this. And the reason why they get like the radiation poisoning and all this other crap. And I mean, and to me, it just makes sense because I mean, I think it's like Elon Musk said it, and he's accurate about it. It's like we sit here because we have intelligence and we think that we're the smartest only thing in existence. He said, but there's other planets out there who's 2, 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times older than ours, and probably far more advanced. So there is no telling, how wrong we are scientifically about 90% of shit. Like,
I think we're just naive as fuck.
Yeah. It's just the way it boils down to. I don't know, man. There's a whole lot of good stuff on there. That kind of leaves you like there was a thing, for example, on Paranormal caught on camera where that showed like a moose running on water, like, and there was a boat chasing after it, but the moose was walking on water like he was like Jesus Christ almost, like he was just running across the water, and then eventually it just falls in the water like midway, and then swims off.
That's crazy. I want to see that.
Dude, they have like the Matrix glitches one where the dude was like looking up, looking around, but in the side view mirror, his face was looking down at his phone. And then a tree branch that fell but like froze midair, and like nothing else was holding it there. It was just frozen. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm like, stuff like that kind of makes you wonder, like, what the hell?
Yeah. There was a show that came on a few years ago. It was based around the Kennedy assassination. It was James Franco. Blanco, Pineapple Express fucker. And basically like his sole purpose, because the guy that showed him this whole portal thing was he was trying to stop the Kennedy assassination. And like he would go back in time, like, and it would be years there and seconds here. And like the guy that was showed him everything got shot. That's why he was like, "I need you to do this," kind of thing.
One of Kennedy's last talks, actually, one of his last press talks, he talked about there being a government entity within the government existing that had more power than we allowed him to, and then it's like right after that he was snuffed out.
Yeah. Also think the government killed Marilyn Monroe. Yeah. Because like there was
because she also knew too about the like Illuminati stuff and supposedly some other stuff she shouldn't have known about. Like I think even down to like UFO conspiracies and cover-ups, and she was wiretapped and they were listening to her, and then they found like certain type of drugs in her system that you wouldn't take normally.
Yeah. Like just basically she committed suicide. I think she was done in.
I mean, that's but it's like the weird stuff though with JFK's son. Like he supposedly flew into the Bermuda Triangle, like crashed his airplane, killed him.
I thought that was in the Gulf.
No, the story I heard is he flew into the Bermuda Triangle.
Well,
I could be wrong. I mean, I would have to fact check that. Yeah.
Why the fuck would you do that? It's like the dude, Kennedy, that was going through the kitchen of a motel to avoid like a crowd. Dude just pops out of nowhere, caps his ass. Like that was just dumb luck. My ass.
The thing too is a weird thing about life is like if you compare like the Lincoln assassination to the Kennedy assassination, like the weird similarities, like I'm sure Luke's nodding his head. I think he knows where I'm going with this. Like,
Classic.
The guy like ran from the bush into a theater, and then the other way around for the other assassination, both shot in the head. Wilkes
Lincoln
Booth.
had a secretary named Kennedy. Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's weird. It's really weird. Yeah, you got to look it up because I don't remember all of them. But yeah, there's a lot of really weird consistencies. Well, not consistencies, coincidences
Yeah.
between the two of them.
It's just proof that history repeats itself in some ways and like leaves clues about stuff going forward. Like, shit. I mean, there's this guy, like the time traveler photos. I'm sure you'll, some of you. I mean, you see the guy on a cell phone in like 1916, and with a watch on and a hoodie. Like, there's like one guy even in a photo where it's like a bunch of people. I really wish I could remember where the photo was taken at, but he like sits there and he kind of looks like a hipster from like this generation, like the glasses, the cell phone, the watch, and he's just sitting there in a hoodie jacket, like in the middle of all these people.
It's just people ahead of their time, you know?
Because I mean, there was that one dude named Thorson something that like came from like claimed he came from the future or some different planet and spoke to the White House, and then Gene Roddenberry was actually in there for that meeting, and that's when after that meeting is when they created Star Trek.
Fucking what?
Yeah, you'd have to look it up, dude. They got photos of him. It's like a legit story. Like he's a legit person. Because Gene Roddenberry was there, and then like after he talked to him and everything, he came out and wrote Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek is just government propaganda to get the public used to the idea of aliens
and coexistence.
So you mean fucking green chicks? Because that's exactly all it did.
And yeah,
that's all that Star Wars did too.
I mean, that's the ultimate integration is interbreeding. Unless we're going to start talking about Mass Effect, in which case my opinion changes dramatically. Those Quarians.
I figured you didn't like the Telix or some shit.
Yeah, no, I ain't that basic. The Twi'leks are interesting, but noodleheads, I'm not about it. But the Quarians from Mass Effect, they live in a suit. They basically wear a gas mask their entire lives. It's my thing.
Doesn't make any sense.
I know. Yeah. No,
the other
it's
one
never made sense. Has what?
Built-in handle.
I mean, yeah. And?
This has got to be edited out.
It's not a shame you got your work cut out for you this time, man.
That's pretty fun stuff. I still mess with Skyrim, man. It's like my go-to when I'm like super bored because I've modded the hell out of it.
Did you play Borderlands at all?
No. I'm pretty stoked about the fact that they're fixing to release a 20th, some kind of, it's like the anniversary edition of Skyrim. Like it's gonna have like new levels, new characters, new all sorts of stuff. So it's like kind of revamped. Like you can even get go to like the Tribunal Temple and stuff in it, and get like swords from the Tribunal era, and all this other stuff. And I don't know why. I think maybe they're amping it up simply because we still have to wait a while for Bethesda to release the new Skyrim. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I think it's gonna be really good.
I really wish I hadn't heard any of that because I didn't want to buy Skyrim again. I mean, I've only bought it twice. It's not like it's Mass Effect. I've bought Mass Effect so many times.
Well, you heard about the Skyrim edition that you can play with like Alexa, right? Like
what?
Yeah, it's like the Skyrim very, very special edition is what they call it, where you can sit there and Alexa will like tell you the scenes and the scenarios, and you can choose your responses and how you want to fight the person. Like,
it's right now.
So you're playing D&D with Alexa?
Kind of.
I'm cool with it. And I am about that life.
It's like if Skyrim people couldn't be more obsessed, they're going to be now. Like plus the anniversary edition I think comes out December, I think. Hey, at least I ain't telling them all that time, man, that me and you started singing the Celtic Woman in the van on the way to...
You can go ahead. He knows I do that.
Oh yeah. You think we don't do that?
Dude, no, like I didn't expect to do it. Like some song came out. I don't even remember the song. You might remember it. Uh, and then just like next thing I know, we're like Tommy boying it on the way to the on the way to the house. Like it just
I can't remember it well.
it just
I
happened.
remember it well. It was great. And then we did death metal for Little Debbie Sack Cakes.
Yeah, Little Debbie Snack Cakes.
Yeah,
It was like when Death Clock was super famous, like like the thing back then, yeah. Like
oh man, I miss Death Clock.
You had to like deathcore everything. It's like people who say that that cartoon didn't influence them musically growing up. They're lying. It
Oh yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
That cartoon was fantastic. Everyone who watches this tomorrow is gonna be like, I came for Vikings, and I didn't get like.
Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
We did have some interesting discussions about some stuff.
Yeah, came for Vikings, got Bigfoot,
and aliens, beer, everything but it. I mean, but the thing is like this is just. I think I even titled this "Random Discussions." So it's
you did.
So I was open and honest. I don't know. It just looked like somebody just hit him on fast forward when he was trying to talk. You were just like, damn it. Because we had the podcast, which I think, to be all honest, that we need to redo because the audio quality and everything was so bad. Was the Holiday Wars one?
Oh yeah, dude, that was a good one.
Yeah, because the audio was super like messed up on it, so I think like going back over it and like redoing it would definitely be a good thing to do. Because unfortunately, I didn't have the stuff to edit the audio then.
Yeah, and
always a popular topic.
And I have some pretty good pictures from it, like for reference, for my side of the argument. If there was an argument, but discussion. But I can kind of explain it a little bit better now. Especially since you can put it.
Plus, now we'll have Luke. Make sure we drag him into it and be like, hey, ponder that, if you will. Pagans versus the Christians, the Holiday Wars. I would say go back and listen to the audio, but it's so horrible. I'm ashamed. Because like I think the audio like disconnected like 4 different times, and like it was so bad.
I would pace around the house trying to do that one, and it just kept going in and out. We were fresh. But we can touch on that again. But we can kind of. I think we all have a really decent way of discussing it.
Yeah, I mean, because we kind of just like dived both feet in on that one and just ran like hell. And I think that we kind of like, at the time, we were kind of like shooting from the hip, like instead of like setting it out a little bit ahead of time, so that way we could be like, okay, let's go forward with this and approach it this way, and think about really like what message are we trying to get out there. Like I think one of our best ones that we have ever done is does the DNA matter aspect. That one I think kind of like it gets a lot of listens. I think the most, and
that topic is the reason why you'll never have one community.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that is probably the main reason why we will never have one community.
Yeah, I don't think having community is a desirable thing, though, so I don't have a problem with that.
What is it?
I said I don't think having one giant community is something that should be desirable. Like, I think having these small communities.
Yeah, that's not the way this whole thing works anyway. It never worked that way to begin with.
No, it's all like a tribe aspect. It's like I've mentioned before. It's like the whole Native American thing once again, and that's the way.
Giant congregations of thousands of people doing something do ensemble block, whatever have you ritual.
I mean, I watch like obviously another YouTuber. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. Because I'm not gonna like try to say this where it seems like I'm throwing this specific individual under the bus or anything, but they have just like got plans for like a hall or whatever.
Yeah.
And
A lot of people-
I was like, okay, that's cool or whatever, but the grand scheme of things, like they're having to like go through and make themselves like an entity, like you know, a whole bunch of other stuff with that, and I'm like, I don't know, I have mixed emotions about something like that because I'm like, I feel like you're taking I guess the closeness aspect, like the intimate aspect of being a community and everything, and you're turning it into something that's, you know, shiny and popularized, and you know, and going about it in a way where it almost seems like it's for show versus literally being it for the good reasons. But I don't know if the individual is. I like, from what I get that this person is sincere, and I totally like. I watch his videos. I'm totally up for, you know, his discussions and everything. You know, I think he's awesome, but I know that there's some things that we have to be careful of, to not paint the wrong type of picture, especially because a lot of people from the outside are looking in and they're becoming curious about it. And if we start just throwing up halls left and right, then we're no different than a Baptist church down the road. You know, and that's something that I don't want to paint a picture of, and I think that we need to be careful of, going forward.
I think some of the ones that have popped up have done pretty well with it.
Yeah.
And it's not overly done. It's not flashy. Like it looks like a hall. Like, and I think a lot of places that make temples, they're kind of feeding off of that. The Uppsala, like the last temple that was kind of burnt down. So they're kind of feeding off of that, where people would travel to it. I think that's basically what they're doing. They're making a temple that people can kind of pilgrim to for ritual and blah and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it certainly has its place.
Yeah. Some place like commercialized, like in the middle of a fucking town, it's not what it's for. To me, it wouldn't make sense. To me, it would. I don't know if it would be well received with the community, and probably not with the heathen community at large to begin with, because there's really nowhere to do anything outside if you have it in the middle of a town. Like, if you just want it to be seen, then yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're gonna last very long. You're not gonna have anybody there to do anything really of substance. You're gonna be a fucking tourist attraction.
Yeah. Yeah, especially considering you can see the gods in your backyard. Like,
yeah. I mean, I have my ideas for things I want to do, but it's for me and mine. You know,
I mean, I think having a hall, like obviously like a dedicated place, I think would be great as for like just like, hey, a bunch of us want to go and stay at this place and like kind of make it like, I don't know, like a camp type of thing. But I mean, you can call it what you want, but having like building rooms that are specifically designed for like Thor and Odin or whatever, those times have long since passed, and I think that a lot of the things within paganism, Norse paganism or paganism in general, teaches us is that everywhere is a temple. The woods is a temple. A tree is a temple. It's where you connect to that specific deity or those gods that you are trying to connect to, and that's what we lose touch of.
All that shit talking we did at the beginning of COVID when they tried to shut churches down, and all these people started making memes about, you know, this and that we can just walk outside.
Yeah.
If that's the case, why are we making? And And it's like, yeah, we said that stuff, or some of us said that stuff. I don't fucking pan in on that shit. Like, that's great, but the people who need a house like that aren't seeing what it is. Like, yes, there's time and place for a place like that, but not for your general stuff. Like,
Yeah.
mainly about the connection that you want. Like, and you're not gonna find that in a building. You know, my humble opinion. Like,
Yeah.
take your shoes off.
Like you've got your altar in your backyard. Like
Yeah.
that's perfect for everyday stuff. But for
Yeah.
like big get-togethers, for like the holidays, the feasts, community building events, that's what the hall is for.
That's what you have God
Like
poles
occasional.
for. Like put a big God pole up wherever, and then just dedicate that area, and you build a holder around it. Where it's just like a stack of stones or whatever, and just have a community area. Obviously, like for a long time, mine was I had a stump in my backyard that got struck by lightning, and it was a tree. They cut the tree down, left the stump, and then you could see like the lightning burst marks around it and everything else, like where the lightning hit the ground and like kicked the dirt up and everything. And I used that as an outdoor hoser. And anytime like I would leave offerings out there, like fresh plums or whatever, they were gone the next day. Like just completely gone. Especially during Yule is when I did it. Like some of the offerings the most, and they were always gone. And it's just people fail to remember that need of a building, that need of that desperate cry for a hall is, I feel like, subconsciously Christianity still within the mind of the individual, because you're taught as a kid, you got to go to a building, a church, you got to be there with a congregation, and that was how you needed to develop spiritually. Where within paganism, you develop spiritually on your own, and you can also develop spiritually together as a community, but you don't have to have a building. It can be, walking through the woods together, going on nature walks, hiking, wherever you want it to be. And that's the reason why, like, pocket altars, I think, have become like a big thing. With some people, with like the miniature gods, you can just carry like the statues or whatever in the incense and just go off into the woods and give offerings or what have you. And I don't know. That's just my view on it. I think that if people
Something simple, taking your shoes off and walking through your yard, just grounding yourself. I think that's a lot. That's sufficient for a lot of people. Like for what they do, what they expect.
And it's like
And I
the
think
people,
everybody.
and it's like the same people who just have this idea of like, oh well, what if we had a Norse only community, like houses, everything there, like an actual like tribe kind of. I'm like, technically, you don't need that anymore. Like, I don't see a point where it's needed. To me, I think that's all for the show of it.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to think about, to be around like-minded individuals like that.
Mm.
You're not always gonna get that. Like me, Luke, and little brother Joey. Yeah, we talk about that a whole lot. But we are of the same mind. Like literally, like what we want out of the land, what we want to do with the land. We all are of the same mind about it. You're not gonna find that in a large community.
No.
You're gonna have it.
Yeah,
And
the
in
more
this day
people
and
you
age,
incorporate, the more issues you're gonna bring in, of course.
in this day and age, like people make it known when they have a fucking issue, and they're relentless. They will try to ruin your fucking life. If you're in a small community and you are thrown out of a community because one person convinces everyone else that something you said is bullshit, you built the wrong community. Like, yeah, you can have opposing ideas, but you need to be able to communicate and have conversations about these ideas and figure out which way to works best for the community. Because at that point, it's not the individuals that need to prosper; it is the community that needs to prosper. Like, and the more people you have, the harder that is, especially when something like this that has no, it's not, there's no dogma, there's no, this is how it has to be. You can literally break it down to the individual of how things are done. Like, because everyone's going to do it different. Everyone's going to pay more attention to something else. it's really hard when you start, putting a lot of people in there at a constant. Like gatherings, temporary gatherings for things. Yes, great, fantastic. But living situations, that's when it becomes fuckery.
Yep.
People need to remember, like, things are not the way they were back then. You know,
No,
everybody's
that
got
you can't handle,
fueled
you
with,
can't wait for the all thing to happen to handle business.
yeah.
Like shit has to happen now. Like somebody fucks up, that has to happen. You need to handle something, it has to happen. You can't wait for one point a year for the all thing to handle your dispute. You just can't. That's not how it's done now. Too many people are on top of each other. These people didn't live on top of each other most of the time. So yeah, the dispute happened. They didn't have to look at this person until the all thing, and then they brought it up to who the fuck ever.
I mean, do you
Whoever
think
is
that the idea of developing a pagan community probably derives from the way it was viewed in Vikings?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's
Like,
it's brutal, but I believe it's true. Yeah.
like it would not have to be a community. It'd have to be. You'd have to make a town so people could spread out. Like, and people have their things, like their jobs. That's the only way that's going to work.
It reminds me of the saying, "It takes a village." Like
To raise a child.
it,
Yeah.
it takes a village to raise a child, but it doesn't take a city. That's too many people involved. So, like, if you've got we're all trying to think really big, and I think we need to start scaling things down and focus on smaller communities. Like, think of a village, get together a village. Like, yeah, you want your village to grow, you want your village to prosper, but you don't want it to exceed its capacity.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
you
I
can
definitely
handle
agree with that.
like a village with what 5 or 6 families.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah,
just-
5 or
just-
6 families, not like
yeah. And baby steps
yeah.
that way. People are gonna come and go. Like that's part of a village. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like you want to focus on building life and getting to the point where everything is good. Like you understand when to harvest the area, when to do this, when to do that, when to hunt, what to hunt, what grows wild that you can use. Like everybody's got to understand all that stuff. What jobs are available, what can be done around there, what needs to be done.
Yep.
The more you spread out, the harder it is for at least an individual to manage all the people, because it's going to break down to not someone who's a earl or whatever have you. It's going to come down to like a committee, like a board,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
very similar to the way the Native Americans do it. I mean,
Yes, you're gonna
I have to use them because I think it's like, for an example, they probably have the most reliable tribal system that, if you think back, you can really kind of get a handle on. And that's the way I've kind of viewed probably that the way it was back in the day, with our ancestors. But like you said before, typically a lot of them lived on farms, not directly inside of a township. Typically, I think if they had a township, it's just kind of like where they went to go throw a market up or something to sell what they had or sell some goods.
A lot of people traveled on a daily basis into town, which means they lived outside of that. They brought their goods in, stayed all day, did their business, and then they left. Either that or farmers and fishermen did what they needed to do all week, and then they had a day where they went in and sold their wares. I think the community that people are thinking of is like that, but it's not gonna work. Like it's people get too big. People are afraid of hurting someone's feelings by saying, "Hey, we really appreciate you wanting to be a part of this community, but we're good." You want to come in and sell some stuff to us so we can trade? Great, but you got to get out. Like you're not a permanent fixture. Like a lot of people are too worried about damaging someone's feeling when it comes to that. But if you're in that position where you have to make that call, you have other people you have to worry about, not someone who's not part of your community. If that's the way you want to be.
Yep. Yeah. Everybody wants to be inclusive. That it's a detriment. Like you can't include everybody and expect to be able to provide for everybody.
Yeah, and
you gotta pick your tribe and do what is good for your tribe, your village. You can't be worried about everybody's village.
I think it's like you're exactly right on that. I'm like, and that's why people need to be careful about the tribes that they build. If you don't find one that works well with you, create your own. I mean, create your own community, create your own whatever, and then.
I think the problem with that is a lot of people. There's very few natural leaders, where there's actually people who. So there's someone who people naturally just be like, yeah, I could kind of go with this cat. There's very few. There's very few and far between these days, and that's gonna what's making it hard because you don't. In that instance, you don't have to what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck. Convince anyone to kind of do as you do and what you want the community to do. They just naturally just follow your lead. They understand your ideals. They can agree with them, or you can word it in a way where it works for them. They can have their different ideals, but there's a way you can help them understand yours, and they still respect you enough to go with it. There's not a whole lot of that anymore.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, people today, I've noticed, like, can't take correction in the slightest. They can't be told that they're not okay. That something about them needs to be fixed. They break down, and that's like it's like the same shit with this whole cancel culture shit. That stuff gets on my nerves every time I read it. I'm like, you people can't stand up to somebody who gets your food wrong after you send it back 4 times, but you want to cancel somebody for making a comment that you don't agree with and ruin their entire professional career or whatever. And I just don't see it.
It's easy to hide behind us.
Yes, it is.
And I'm like, since when did we give people that much control over us? Like, I'm like, who's gonna tell me I can't go out and do something I enjoy doing to make money? I mean, you know,
tell that to the red light district. I mean, yeah, it's funny, but for real, like, prostitution being illegal, like, why? They want to sell their body for money. They are willing to do that. And who are we to get in the way of that?
And you know that stuff ties. So a lot of people don't know this, and I think Ari Theriger did a video on it once, that prostitutes tied into the cult of Freya. Like, they were into it. There was a huge thing to do with the cult of Freya, and a lot of people didn't know that.
Sexuality is a huge thing with Freya, so I mean, I get it. I haven't heard that, but I get it.
I haven't heard that either, but I mean,
I've been watching all his. I think I've watched every one of his videos that he's came out with over the past 2.5, 3 years. And then he talks about it a lot, and I mean, the dude's great. And the reason why I think I go to him as a direct source is because he not only is somebody who's just completely interested in Norse paganism. One, he's also I think he's in Sweden or something along those lines. So he's like over in that area, and then 2, he's a historian on it. So you got historical facts, spiritual belief facts, and all of that kind of like ran into one, which is great to kind of like gain some insight off of. So I mean, he's got a ton of them. He's got one like about the cult of Thor, um, but he talks a lot about the cult of Freya because of like satyr and vulva magic and all that stuff.
That's what believable in the cult of Thor. Like, what are you gonna do? Run around with a fucking lightning bolt on your forehead?
I don't remember exactly what the cult of Thor was 100% because I think that was like one of his older videos. But I mean, you can go back and find it. It's on YouTube. It's like 15 minutes long.
I'll check. But that's kind of weird.
I mean, it's.
Like
weird. I mean, but it's also like, you know, I mean, shit. A lot of people don't know about the cave drawings of Thor back prior to, back in the day where Thor's hammer was truly like an axe, and then
back in the Amber Age.
Yeah.
The intention was to be a two-handed weapon, and then Loki happened.
I mean,
like they said, like this weapon before Mimir was an axe, and then he got Mimir from the dwarves, and Loki had fucked with him at a certain point in time, so that the handle wasn't as long as it should have been. That's why it looks like a giant hammer with a short little twig.
I do occasionally forget that he did have a tool or like I wouldn't say a tool, but like it's like an axe, I guess, prior to Mjolnir, because he kept losing it because he would throw it, and then it would break or something along those lines, and then he got the hammer. Also, I think it's like wasn't his belt and stuff like Megan Girth and all that was made by the same lady who taught Thor satyr magic. Like, because a lot of people don't know that Thor practices satyr magic. It's even in our Troth. It talks about it in there also.
No one talks about it a whole lot because you don't really associate magic with Thor.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really a big thing, other than like his tools he uses to wield Mjolnir.
Yeah, I mean, all of that was made by, I want to say it's some giantess or something along those lines. Yeah, giantess. Anyway, she like taught him the art of satyr. It's in our Troth on the chapter on Thor. If you still got the book, you can find it.
Oh yeah, that's my OG books there.
I've got mine over here on my shelf. But yeah, like that's where I read it. I know it's in there because of that, and it was a pretty interesting chapter because you don't think about Thor like practicing magic, but he damn sure did.
That's fair. That one has slipped my mind quite a bit.
I hadn't heard about Thor learning satyr. I'd only heard about Odin learning satyr.
Yeah, it's in so in our Troth where it talks like has the section about the gods. It's in there. I think it's like a couple of pages in, but it talks about like how he learned it, who he learned it from, and how there's references to Thor using satyr and old rune carvings.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back and read. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my own copies of those books. I kind of, had to stop when I was in the middle of the first one.
Why?
That was when I left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me that back.
Yeah, of course. Wasn't gonna leave with one of those.
I've lost a couple books that way. Not from you, but
yeah, no.
people in the past.
I mean, I know you can buy like a collection of that. Like it has both those and like a few other books off of like Amazon for like $40.
Yeah, it's not bad. The prices are definitely better than what they used to be.
Yeah, I think like back when you first got it, according to you told me it was like $150 for like the set or something. It was pretty expensive.
It was a lot more expensive than what it should have been, but they are pretty thick fucking books.
Yeah. I mean, I also got like Jackson Crawford's Poetic Edda, and I got it from Amazon. I paid like $15 for it. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, the Eddas and stuff like that. The only other one that I knew was was kind of expensive was the Sagas of the Icelanders. It's pretty pricey.
I've actually. I have the Sagas of the Giants and Heroes book. And that's actually made by the same people who made the Artroth book. And then
Apparently the subscription of Volume 1 is $100 used on Amazon right now, paperback.
What is it?
Artroth, History and Lore, Volume 1.
You want to tell you a secret? I got mine for free. I got like 7 different books for free from a friend of mine who knew I liked, obviously Norse pagan stuff, and he knew me when I was younger, and me and him ran into each other, and he passed them off.
Luke, if you want to finish reading, like, you can borrow them, bro. Don't you dare pay $100 for one of them things.
Yeah, maybe once Satama hits $1. Because then I'll be, like, filthy rich.
Yeah.
Another one is like the Viking myths and saga books by like Corvan.
Oh, dude, I got a couple of those. Like they never get old. Like just the way some of the translations and stuff like
You
that.
have to be careful though with some of this because they try to push the AFA agenda, I guess. And then I have the Norse Myths by Martin Doherty or Doherty, whatever the hell his name is. A book about practicing like Norse paganism as a sole practitioner. And I have another one called The Nature of Asatru, which you got to be careful with that book, and I didn't realize it was that way until after I bought it. But yeah. That's not a book that you're going to recommend to somebody.
Okay. I just want you guys to see this with your own eyes. Volume 2, $896.
That says $896, Luke.
Yes, that's what I said. $896.
Why in the ever-loving thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's second edition.
There's gotta be something fucked up with that. That doesn't even make sense.
It's because it's new, I guess. The used ones are $203.
Fuck.
I mean, not unless they revised it. Like some of these people do that. Holy shit!
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, why is it so much?
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm like, I don't know, man. If we keep sitting on ours, we're gonna be in a gold mine before long. Like,
yeah.
$600 for myself right now.
Wait, is that the hardcover though?
No, that's paperback. That's paperback.
Even if it's hardcover, it still doesn't excuse almost $1,000 for a fucking book.
I don't know. I'd pay some ridiculous money for a legit grimoire. Not that I would ever use it, but
no. There is something like that. It's called. Because I almost got it. The Icelandic grimoire or something along those lines. It has like a bunch of like Icelandic spells and bind runes and stuff and everything in there.
I've heard of that. I heard some both negative and positive things about that. So I mean, worth looking into for sure. But
stuff like that, like their staves and shit, people get really touchy about it.
Yeah. I mean,
the Icelandic
I don't know nearly enough about that.
I've heard enough people complain about like, don't ever get bind runes tattooed on you. Don't ever get runes tattooed on you. Some of those people like take it far, like it's the gatekeeper thing, man. It's what it all boils down to. Somebody thinks that they know everything.
My maker's mark for all my knives is a bind rune, and I got it. It's if you can see it, right there. And it's not much, but
Tiwaz, Algas, and Pethro?
No, Uruz.
Odors? I don't know. I don't know why I thought it was Pethro.
Yeah.
I guess it was
Well, see,
not lighting.
that's the thing, like, bind runes I can understand not getting tattooed because you don't know, like, if you just get a random bind rune, you know nothing about it. You could tie yourself to a deity inadvertently. You could have a lot of adverse negative effects.
I mean, it's like this one. Like I bought this from like a local shop that, nearby that's starting to sell stuff like this. Like, and then like on the back is like tells you like,
Oh,
shit,
he's not going to be able to see that.
like if I can steer this bastard, like.
Oh, that's interesting.
But yeah, it's like a stave. And it's made out of bone too. That's what's weird.
Huh.
It's like my other rune set is actually like made out of bone, too, like made out of chicken bone.
Yum.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's all polished too, though. So it's like been tumbled and everything, and it's like made out of bone. Here, hold on. Actually, here I'll show you. Hold on.
Luke, take a picture. Show me.
Take a picture. Oh.
I don't get to see shit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out that camera thing.
What camera thing?
I think Discord's not picking up your camera because you're using it with Streamlabs, and Streamlabs isn't picking up Discord.
Yeah. Here I am, like I'm looking at the trio of ours on my other monitor, and I didn't think about the fact that he can't see it.
Yeah.
My bad, dude. Yeah, I gotta figure that out. I wonder if like I would. Yeah, here. Let's see if actually I'll try one thing. Since I mean we're almost 4 hours in anyway. We're gonna probably end it soon in a second. So let's see if I do something here.
Oh, we're almost 4.5 hours in.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens if I open this and tell it to deactivate. Will it pick up my webcam? Boom!
It sure did. Oh, that's funny. This whole time.
I told you I thought it was Streamlabs. Like I didn't think that they would let it work well. So since you're here and you can see me now, I can show you. Like what I was talking about.
Please do.
So this local place around here started making these. It's a Icelandic stave on bone. And it's like basically on the back it's like you will always have success. So it's like a Galdastoffer for success. And around here they're actually starting to increase in a lot of the stuff that they're making.
Interesting.
My rune bowl.
Bowl. Good soup.
And then they sell like these.
Yeah, we got no local cats that do anything like that other than like make mead.
Like
That's fine. Hey, that's pretty.
It's like wood burned into bone. So
looks like my rune set.
And
Where'd
then,
you got drop?
I got it from like a local metaphysical place. And this is my set that I made out of walnut.
Oh, nice.
I don't mess with the carving and wood burning anymore as much as I used to. I mean, I got my little Thor, you know.
Hell yeah, man.
I want to make some big god posts.
Yeah. Kind of want to make some metal god posts, but
that would be pretty. That would be pretty awesome, actually, to see though.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty cool.
I can't believe this entire time.
That kind of skill. I know, right? This whole time, Brandon could have seen you.
I thought, man, it's just like, damn. Uh, well, like I said, I was on it, man. I'm not tech savvy, dude. Well, I'm not
I
gonna say
should have
I'm,
I should have said something before, but
I'm not gonna say I'm not tech savvy. I mean, I kind of work with computers, but when it comes to like Discord and shit, I'm too
Well, this
old
is
for
the
it.
best quality that we've had with
this is what?
Discord. Best quality that we've had.
Yeah,
Sound and
right
shit like
on.
that.
Yeah, I'm feeding, so I fed my mic directly into Discord, and it's also picking it up on Streamlabs at the same time. So
Oh, nice.
it's working out pretty decent, I would say. Um,
Hell, yeah.
I use
Yeah, your
something
audio
called
quality is really good.
Voice Banana Meter or whatever it's called, and then you like download it, and it like you can tweak some settings. But I have like a file that I load, and it automatically loads the setting, and then I just click my mic, and then it like changes it to like a pro sounding mic. So this is like a shit. What's it called? A SH72 like emulator. So it makes my mic sound like some Joe Rogan shit. Is what it's supposed to do. I doubt it does, but I don't know. I can't hear myself except without this. I can. If
As
I don't
long as
have,
nobody hears my background noise, I'm happy.
I don't hear nothing in your background. Like it's
Perfect.
your voice is solid and crisp. Like I don't know about mine. Like I have a fan going in the background too.
Y'all are good.
Yeah, man. Now we
Yeah.
just got to get your mic set up, and then we'll be pro and
Yeah. We'll get you set up.
get the laptop and the mic going.
I got the mic. I pulled out of storage. I just gotta get something to hook it to.
What kind of mic did you get?
It's a blue ice.
Hmm.
That,
It's like that. I think I've heard of that before. I know I've heard of like the Blue Yeti one. Yeah. The Snowball. I almost bought that one up before I got this one.
Pretty
I've had
sweet.
this thing months.
Yeah, that's not bad. I've heard pretty good reviews about those.
I don't want to bog down Jamie's laptop with this stuff, so I'm gonna try to give you something just for this. Nothing else. Like the Google that's used on it is the Mimirs web Google. Everything is that's what it is for. So
I might have something. Just don't hold me to it. I might. I'm gonna look into it tomorrow.
okay.
So I got my Alienware laptop because it's a gift from work, kind of. And then my other one it's used like for other stuff, but this one I really don't do much on it other than I work, but all my work is done through virtual machines. So because of some stuff, but anyway, so I don't basically it's like I can't it's whatever. But yeah, other than that, it's just I just have music stuff and games on this damn thing. And I've got external hard drives that I usually save like most of my music and everything too, and my dolls and a lot of my games are ran off of it, so it's not like bogging down my actual laptop. So I try to play smart.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, we'll have to get off there, guys.
Yeah, dude,
we all wrap it up.
It's at 4 hours and 30 minutes. All right, man. Well, it's been good to get together with you and do this. I look forward to where this is going to take us going forward.
We'll do
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff.
But we appreciate you sticking it out for this random session. But to who all is going to see this in the amount of time before I can edit the clips or whatever, keep an eye on the channel. There will be a condensed version of this, and I will probably be getting rid of the saved footage from the live session afterwards, so that way it's some of the excerpts can be not held to us. Like, listen, that we're not, like, he's like, so all the random ramblings, or we can just make it a bloopers reel too and just do it like that and have some fun with it. You don't ever know. But also, you can find this too on Anchor. We'll be having it out there pretty soon. But
and join the Discord.
Like to thank Luke for setting up the Discord. The Discord is also linked. I also linked it too in the Ran video. So nice. Hopefully, as that gets shared out, that'll hopefully get some people in. Also, so I'll have all this edited up and everything. I'd like to thank Luke for hanging out with us, and look forward to doing this with him some more going forward. So I think now it's like, having 3 people is actually pretty good. So that way we can kind of balance out the weirdness between one person for the other. Me, I just sit back, I laugh at everything, and then forget what the hell I'm saying midway, and just like, whatever. Like,
makes it flow. It makes it flow.
But imagine what it would be like if we're actually scripted, though. If we go word on, like, full on talent, it would blow our minds, wouldn't it? I'm not good at writing a script, man. I just kind of go with what feels natural. But
All
right, guys.
All right. Yep.
All right,
it's been fun. Thanks again.
See you, everyone.
Bye. See ya.